Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask some questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857, and we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. Today, we're going to talk about the big one, maybe signed, Vasyl Lomachenko versus Guillermo Rigondeaux, maybe on. We'll tell you about it. The Nevada State Athletic Commission votes to allow 8-ounce gloves for Mayweather-McGregor. Was this a good move? Who does it favor? We'll talk about it. And Robert, the big ones this weekend, man, the one you've been waiting for all year. Mayweather-McGregor, it's going to happen. But first,
yeah, it's going to happen. I'm not watching it. So,
you know you're watching it, son. You know you're watching
I'm not.
it. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you're watching it. That's it. You're watching it. First off, we get started with Terence Crawford versus Julius Indongo. TBE, Julius Indongo. Over 12,000 people showed up to watch Terence Crawford become the undisputed 140-pound champion. Crawford completely dismantled Julius Indongo over the course of 3 rounds in Nebraska last night. From the opening bell, it was all Crawford. You know, Crawford came out a little faster than I thought he would, than he normally does. He's usually a slower starter, man. Indongo had a lot of problems with Crawford's speed, and I think it was definitely a case of 2 different classes of fighter, man. He was just on another level last night. Indongo was caught with a body shot in round 3. It was a left shot, looked like to the liver, right, Beeb? It was a liver shot that dropped him?
Yeah, it kind of looked like it, yeah.
Yeah, and he dropped just like he got shot, man. I mean, he just immediately went to the ground, just boom.
Yeah, there was 2 shots. The first shot was the left hand to the body that did the damage, but then they gave him a right hook as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. He was done. And he was counted out. That was it, son. I mean, he didn't move. I mean, that was like, you know, that body shot. I mean, it was along the lines of, you know, when you see a guy get hit with that body shot, it reminded me a lot of the De La Hoya Hopkins fight.
Yeah.
Different shot, obviously, you know, different shot, but it was the same kind of reaction where he just wasn't moving. He was on the ground. You knew there wasn't a prayer of that guy getting up after that shot. So,
and ironically enough, that was a unification fight as well. And I think that was the last time it was unified. Actually, Jermaine Taylor was the last unified champion because undisputed champion, I should say, because he beat Hopkins, but Hopkins was the last fighter to actually, complete the process of unifying titles. So.
Yeah, I always thought that Hopkins won that fight, but that's just.
Oh, the second one? Yeah, I thought he won the second.
I thought he won both, man. I thought he won both, but.
I thought he lost the first, but I thought he won the rematch.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Beeb. All right, so did you notice this overhand left that Indongo kept throwing early? I mean, he would bring it back almost from the floor and try to launch this thing. It's the same Troyanovsky with. But you could see the shot coming like a mile away. I mean, this wasn't like a sneaky left hand.
Well, that's the thing, and I alluded to this last week. I thought that Indongo, when he fought Ricky Burns' fight, kind of was flailing away on the inside with Ricky Burns, and people talked about this guy's height and reach, but his style, being the way it is, he doesn't take advantage of his height and reach. So, yeah, I've seen him fight. I've seen him throw that left hand like that, and the one thing that he also does is he's very repetitive in his attack. He's a pattern fighter. He just doesn't really switch up the attacks, doesn't give you a lot of different looks in there. And he's pretty straightforward. And to Crawford's credit, he made a concerted effort to go to the body early, because one thing Indongo does do well, he does take headshots pretty well, and he's has those earmuffs on, so it's really hard to hit him upstairs flush But because he has those hands held so high, he gives you that body. And Crawford definitely took advantage of that. I mean, Crawford is such an intelligent fighter, and you know, whatever openings you give him, whatever he sees you doing in there when he makes a move and you're reacting to it, he can pick up on those tells very easily. And this guy is not only an athletically gifted guy, but he's another guy like on the lines of Andre Ward and Floyd Mayweather when it comes to ring IQ. This guy's got a very, very high ring IQ to match his you know, athletic gifts as well. So that's what makes him so dangerous. And he's a decent sized guy too. I think definitely has the frame to go up to welterweight and be very effective. And I also suspect that the power will go up there with him. So I think, you know, he's going to make a name for himself up there, and he's going to give those guys a run for their money. Errol Spence versus him would be very interesting because Errol Spence is so big and strong himself. But you know, we saw him have a little bit of slight issues with Kell Brooks, you know, technical abilities, and Crawford definitely brings a little bit of that, not just a little bit, a lot of that up to welterweight, and he decides to move up, which I think will be very shortly.
Robert, what did you think of this fight?
Well, I was looking forward to it just because of the historical aspect, but it turned out to be an NC, no contest.
Wow.
You know, Crawford walked right through Indongo like a knife goes through butter. It wasn't even really competitive. I mean, he when he knocked him down in the second round, I was surprised that Indongo got up, and the commentator said, well, yeah, he got up, but he got up way too fast, and it sure looked like it. And in the third round, when he landed that body shot, it's like, okay, those lights are turned out. And I think Crawford is going to be a definite threat at 147. I just hope the political things that go on with promoters and other people don't interfere with his ability to make fights, because that's going to be his stumbling block. Is Thurman, Spence, Porter, you know, Garcia, people like that are all over on one side of the fence, and he's over on the other. It's going to be easy for him to get the Jeff Horn, Manny Pacquiao winner, but after that, I wonder how much political stuff is going to get in his way, because he's going to be a definite threat as far as I'm concerned at 147, but I don't know if he'll get the chance to show that.
Man, how about him versus Porter? What a fight that would
I'd
be.
love it.
Wow.
I'd love it.
What do you think about that one, Beeb?
That would be a really, really good fight. You know, I would favor Crawford in that fight. The only guy I think that Crawford would really have serious issues with is Errol Spence, and I'm a huge Errol Spence fan. I really love what that kid brings to the table.
Yeah.
He can punch, and he's another guy that he doesn't get enough credit for his technical abilities. This guy really knows how to cut off the ring, and he really knows how to open up those punching angles for himself. And he just throws a wide array of punches, and he's just very effective with each punch he throws. He can hurt you with anything he throws at you. That's what's so scary about the kid.
What do you think about Terence Crawford versus Conor McGregor, Beeb?
I think my reaction to the question pretty much answers it, right?
I'm sorry, Robbie. Go ahead.
But again, guys, being serious here, do you think the political side of boxing is going to interfere with Terence Crawford's career once he moves up to 147? Yeah, we know that he'll be able to get the Pacquiao-Horn winner, because it looks like a rematch from what they said last night will be done in November. But beyond that, will he get a shot at people like I mentioned?
No.
You know, Thurman, Garcia.
No, I don't think so. I think it's gonna, you know, I mean, he may get a shot at some of them. He's not going to get a shot at all of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even still,
on the side of the street,
you have to understand this. Bob Arum's a very smart guy, and at the end of the day, you know, he always comes around and makes the fights that need to get made when it comes, you know, if there's no other, you know, recourse, Bob will make those fights. He made Pacquiao Mayweather. If he can make that fight, he can make any fight. But even these guys that are all on the same side of the street, they're not even fighting. All of them aren't even fighting each other. Keith Thurman's not fighting Spence. Danny Garcia fought Thurman, but he hasn't fought anyone else. So
no, I know.
These guys, they need to get it together too. But I think Crawford is a guy that really wants to challenge himself, and he has a lot of confidence in his ability. And as I said, Bob Arum, if it makes sense, it doesn't really matter. He will get it done. We saw Gary Russell and Lomachenko. That's another fight. So Bob Arum, I think right now, I don't think he has any personal vendettas with anybody. I think at this particular time, he's willing to work with anybody. And I said it many times before. Him and King used to have, hellacious vendettas between the two of them. But at the end of the day, they still made big fights when they needed to. So I think that people are going to realize that Crawford he's going to be the pound for pound guy, or pretty much close to it. He's going to be recognized as, among the best two fighters in the world in a lot of people's opinions. So who wouldn't want that? You know what I'm saying? And again,
right,
Bob having that ESPN deal, they put a fight with one of those big welterweights on at prime time, and they can make that a really big event.
I don't know, man. 2 words for you.
No,
Two words.
I think his future is bright. So
Yeah, 2 words for you. When you talk about dealing with Heyman and all them. 2 words for you: Adonis Stevenson. He's held that title hostage. Exactly. He hasn't fought anybody on it.
But that's the fighter's choice. That's the fighter's choice, I think.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. So is Terence Crawford the best pound-for-pound fighter right now? It seems like after every big win that new names pop up on the pound-for-pound list. Yesterday, at 6 p.m., this guy wasn't being mentioned on any pound-for-pound list. Now, all of a sudden, he's jumped over Andre Ward. He's jumped over Lomachenko and everybody else.
No, Eric, he deserves to be on the list.
Sure.
But I don't like how boxing people get carried away after a fight.
Right.
Andre Ward is the top guy. Lomachenko is the top guy. But fighters, in my opinion, they need to do it on a consistent basis. And if all these fights that we're talking about can be made for Crawford, he will definitely, because I think he's talented enough. I think he'll show a lot of people, yes, my name belongs on that list, but you can't get carried away over him beating the likes of, John Molina and Hank Lundy and Julius Indongo and people.
Right.
When you've got to get him in there with the big names. Even if Pacquiao beats Horn in the rematch. Even if Crawford was to dismantle Pacquiao, which would probably happen at this point, you can't get really excited over that either. You got to see Crawford in against Spence, Thurman, people like that, instead of boxing people, just automatically putting people on a list, they have to be able to prove it. That's why the Lomachenko Rigondeaux fight, even though that's not one I'm excited about. If Lomachenko could go in there and dominate a Rigondeaux, those of us that really understand the sport, we can say, okay, this guy is special after all. But I think boxing media gets carried away after big wins. And, yeah, I think he's got the talent to be on that list, but I think he's still got to do more to earn it. The bigger names that you fight and you're successful, then you deserve that kind of recognition. But now he's still working his way up.
Yeah, I tell you, I think that anybody, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, and you know this, Robert, too. I had Andre Ward on as the top pound-for-pound fighter, even with Floyd Mayweather. Most people considered him the top pound-for-pound because I thought Floyd was slipping a little bit. Andre Ward was the young lion at the time, and he was, I don't know how anybody leapfrogs Andre Ward. I don't. I don't know how you can even give me an argument for that. I mean, really, the guy's the undisputed, and I'll call him the undisputed light heavyweight, middle, 168, 175. you know, just because Adonis Stevenson won't fight him or refuses to fight him, there's nothing he can do about that. You know?
No, I know.
You know, he beat Kovalev twice. Call it what you want. I mean, you say he lost the fight. Hey, look, I thought he lost the first fight. Bottom line is, it doesn't go on his record. The guy's undefeated. You saw what he did to Sullivan Barrera. You saw what Sullivan Barrera did in his last fight. Listen, man, the guy's on another level. Whether you like it or not, he's on another level. And I see a lot of people saying that, you know, he shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be. Listen, to me, I don't know how anybody leapfrogs him, but certainly not Terence Crawford. You know, over a victory over Julius Indongo. And it's not like Indongo is trash. He's not. I thought he was a really good fighter. And like I said, had I not saw the Postal fight, the Victor Postal Crawford fight, I picked Indongo to win this fight if I didn't see that fight. You know, I knew Terence Crawford could handle the size and the range and everything, so I knew it was going to be over. Didn't think it would be like this.
Yeah.
But I mean, and Crawford looked like a different level out there. You know, you could tell he was a different level. But does that make him leapfrog Andre Ward? No, I don't think so.
No,
anyway.
Because remember, a fighter like Crawford, Eric, it looked like to me last night he totally raised his game because he understood what the stakes were. He understood what kind of stage he was on. Certain fighters, you put them in a under a different atmosphere and in front of a different audience, you know, they want to go out and they make an impression. I guarantee you, a lot of people watching on ESPN last night, whenever the name Terence Crawford pops up on their TV schedule in the future, if they saw last night, they're going to want to tune in.
Right.
So he did what he was supposed to do, and he earned a lot more fans last night that didn't know anything about him previously.
That's the thing. And I mean, I'm glad he's getting the recognition and everything, and now people know him. That's how it should be. But, you know, saying he's a top guy because he's got all 4 belts.
No, not yet. Not yet. He's got work to do.
Yeah, exactly. So the rumor is that he's going to go up. He's going to go up and weight to 147. He's going to vacate all the belts. You know who that leaves the door open for?
Don't even say it.
Don't
even say
go
it.
There.
Don't even say it.
Yeah, that's who it leaves it open for. Adrian, the Problem Broner, baby. Broner's going to come back, win a belt. There it is. Secures his Hall of Fame credentials, baby. Come on. Cincinnati's going to be back at the top again.
Yeah.
Again.
The 140 gatekeeper.
Yeah, he's got to fight somebody. He can't fight anybody like, you know, Terence Crawford. He's got to fight somebody, you know, or Garcia or anybody like that. He's got to fight, you know. We'll pick a fight for him. We'll get it for him. We'll figure it out. He'll be because now you got all 4 belts. You got options now. You know what I mean?
Oh, God.
All right, let's move ahead.
Give me a break.
Alexander Gavodstik versus Craig Baker. Gavodstik scored a 6-round TKO over Baker on the Crawford and Indongo undercard. Man, I tell you what, I was expecting Gavodstik to just run right through this guy. I was actually surprised that it took him so long. It was kind of slow. I mean, he was winning rounds, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was doing. I don't know, like
no sense of urgency, but
right, there was nothing there. I mean, there was.
But you got the sense that he felt he could do what he wanted, and he was just taking his time.
I was wondering if maybe that guy had some pop that we didn't see, like, you know what I mean? Like he could get into some trouble, because that's what it was looking like. I mean,
Baker's definitely not a world beater by no means, but you got the sense, and I could just look at him and tell, like, he knows how to fight, and you could tell that he's been in, he's been in there. He had a tight defense. He wasn't giving him much, and Gavodstik had to realize that, I'm going to have to do something to open this guy up, because this guy's moving forward, but he's pretty much shelling up on me a lot, and he's not giving me much. So if you notice, one thing that I do like that Gavodstik does do is he knows how to throw looping shots, but he keeps them tight.
Yeah.
He gives those little looping shots, but they're not Indongo type shots. So he knows how to loop around the guard a little bit. He knows how to, like I like to say, thread the needle with his punches. So he can change up the trajectory of his punches and really generate a lot of power. So he can get a lot out of a little. Because that big right hand that he landed, it was almost like an 8-inch punch. It wasn't like, but he looped it right around, and he still turned his hip and shoulder into it, and he got a lot of leverage on it. And you know, you could just tell this guy's naturally heavy-handed. Like I said, he knows how to set that power up too. And you know, that's what it was. I mean, I think Baker was a little bit crafty enough to enable him to hang in there. He landed a couple of decent shots himself. I mean, he was trying, but for the most part, when Bostic was punching, he wasn't looking at Conor. He was just like air up and shelling up. And you know, it was almost like him just going into like a serious defense mode. And you could tell that he was aware and concerned with Bostic's power, so he wasn't going to try to, you know, land any sneaky counters and open himself up. So it is what it is. I think Bostic was very methodical in his approach last night. But again,
I was surprised Baker was able to
done.
back him up like that. You know.
You know, because the guy's awkward. He's kind of awkward. He's kind of crafty. Madness, so to speak. You know what I mean? But then Bostic, you know, said to himself, "This guy really can't hurt me. It's my time now to turn this fight around." And he made the decision to open him up and throw that nice looping right hand around the guard. It was a beautiful punch. It was a beautiful punch, and it just you know, pulled the rug out from under the Baker when he landed that shot. So,
yeah, I agree.
Got to give him credit for that.
Yeah. I've seen the nail fight previously, and normally he comes right out and just blows people away. So I was wondering if Baker was offering some resistance that we couldn't see. But normally when he gets somebody in trouble, that's kind of the result you see. It just took a little bit longer than I thought. But I think he's a definite threat in the light heavyweight division if he's given the right opponents.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Let's talk about Shakur Stevenson. He took on David Paz last night. He won a unanimous decision. It was pretty one-sided, 60-53, on all three cards. Stevenson floored Paz in round 5. The fight was pretty uneventful for the most part. I'm still trying to figure out what to make of Stevenson, man. Will he become a star? Will he become a champion? I mean, I don't know. You know, I look at him. I like him, but he's just not he's not looking maybe as impressive as some of the fighters that some of the superstars that you see coming up looked. You know, like when you saw Mayweather for the first time, you knew he was going to be something. You know, when you saw Sugar Ray, you know, you knew he was going to be something, the first time.
Kid's not dynamic. The kid's just not dynamic. Right. He's not dynamic.
Do you think
there's nothing that stands out
would help him out? I mean, would a drop in weight help him power-wise? I mean, because he doesn't seem to have that power.
No, he's just.
Is it just the way he fights?
I'll tell you this. He's not a really fast twitch guy. He's not an explosive guy. He's pretty quick. He's quick, but he's not explosive. He's got that. He's like a swift, slick, one of those cutesy type guys.
Yeah.
But I don't think the guy's ever going to be a puncher. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but the thing is this. Teddy Atlas really puts a huge emphasis on a fighter's amateur background. But we've seen cases before where, just because a person's a good amateur doesn't always translate into the pros. Like Zhu Shiming, he's not going to be an exceptional pro. And he had a great amateur background. Lomachenko, we still don't know. I mean, if he decides to move up a few weight classes, 135 or 40-ish, because of the lack of power he has, I don't know how effective he's going to be. But definitely with the eye test, we know he can fight. He's very skilled. We know that. But a person that comes to mind. Yeah, a person that comes to mind when thinking about a guy who was a phenomenal amateur but wasn't really a good pro was Howard Davis Jr. He was voted if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was he won that. What's that trophy called for the most outstanding boxer in the Olympics? I think it was Val Baker or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he won. He was the standout.
Yeah.
In that '76 Olympics, and he never won a world title. You know what I mean?
Howard Davis was so good in the amateurs.
He was an awesome amateur, but so Teddy Atlas is like, well, his justification for putting Lomachenko on there was, oh, look what he did it as an amateur. He's like he put so much emphasis on the guy's amateur record, which is make no mistake about it. It is beyond phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. But again, we have to judge him on what he does in the pros. You know, and even Andre Ward was saying, well, Teddy Atlas was mentioning this, that, mental fortitude, this and that. You know, this whole list, because I'm not a real big pound guy, but this whole list obviously is very subjective. Yeah. And even in my analysis of Errol Spence, because a lot of people like to use the eye test, and Teddy Atlas uses the character test. I don't know how you can look at someone and just determine what type of character they are as a fighter with only 10 fights. I mean, you know, he's never really had to face adversity yet. But be that as it may, when I gave Errol Spence the eye test, you know, I just knew that in my opinion, he was the best welterweight in the world, in my opinion. And I knew that he would stop Kell Brook, and I knew that it would, you know, he would handle him. And people are like, well, how do you know this? So, you know, sometimes you just look at a guy, and you know, he may just do it for you. Like you just see some things in him that you really like and you really admire, and you say to yourself, but it's hard to you know, to say those things and just kind of pass it off as factual, you know, make unequivocal statements. Like I was saying these things about Errol Spence, but I would also predicate my statements with, yeah, this is my opinion, but he still has to go out and do the things to get where I think where he's going to be. He has to fulfill the potential. I saw the potential, just like Teddy Atlas sees the potential, but you just can't see the potential and already put that person in there because you assume he's going to do it. Like my friend Eric Anaya says, D-Style. He's like, yeah, I'm a science guy. I'm not a faith guy. So just because I feel and believe something's going to happen, I still have to see it happen before I can, you know, say and make it, you know, have a definitive opinion on something. And I think, you know, Teddy Atlas was basically, you know, judging Lomachenko on potential as opposed to, you know, what has he done. Whereas Andre Ward, the proof is in the pudding. All you got to do is open up the box rack, and you know these guys he's fought, and you know how good they are, and you know that he cleaned out 2 divisions. And he cleaned out 1 division, basically, if you really want to look at it, in his first 2 fights. Because this guy Kovalev was the man. He was the killer. And as he said, he just moved up and fought this guy, whereas Stevenson's been a champion in this weight class, and he's yet to fight him. So that speaks volumes, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the other fights on the undercard here. Dillian Whyte versus Malcolm Tan. Dillian Whyte scored a 3rd-round KO over Malcolm Tan. Whyte called out WBC champion Deontay Wilder right after the fight. So, and I expect that call out to go, of course, unanswered. Do you want to see? I mean, hey, listen, man. I like Dillian Whyte, fight. Man. I love this fight, man. I think this is a fight. If you want to step it up, if I'm Wilder and I'm Wilder's handlers, and speaking of Wilder's handlers, Mark Breland, another decorated amateur.
Who is that guy?
Yeah, you don't even know who he is. How can you not know who Mark Breland is? What's the matter with you? So if I were his handlers, this is a fight I would take because this is an absolutely winnable fight. It's a good step fight. If you notice, when Anthony Joshua won the title, they kept stepping him up. He wasn't ready for the title, but they kept stepping him up. So when he had a big fight, he's ready for it, you know, and they kept building him slowly as his career moved on. And that's something I don't feel they've done with Wilder. And this would be that fight. I really believe this would be that fight for him. Robert, what do you think of Dillian Whyte and Deontay Wilder?
Well, look, up until Klitschko, guys, Dillian Whyte gave Anthony Joshua his best competition.
Oh, 100%.
And with the way Deontay Wilder has been so inactive, I think Dillian Whyte could not only go in there and do well, he could probably beat Deontay Wilder. Other than Wilder's so-called mandatory Vermain Stavern, I think anybody that Wilder fights now, unless it's somebody off the streets, I think Wilder could possibly lose his WBC belt. So I think there's going to be all kinds of heavyweights coming out of the woodwork wanting to take that title. Because let's face it, 2 titles are spoken for, and they're not going to be given up as long as Joshua has them. But the other 2 titles in the heavyweight division are with guys who are very beatable right now, both Parker and Wilder. And I think that all the other heavyweights are going to be lining up to take these 2 guys and give Joshua multiple options on what he wants to do next.
Yeah, I mean, like it or not, he's the guy in the division now. There's no 2 ways about it. I mean, he's the man.
Yeah.
Could we make an argument, guys? Could we make an argument that Dillian White could beat everyone on Deontay Wilder's resume? Could we make that argument, or is that a stretch?
Absolutely.
No, I think so. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why not? Who's he fought? Who's he fought
So,
that's that dangerous? Gerald Washington?
I think Dillian White's a better fighter than Mace Taverne, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't tell you what, I don't hate that fight either. I don't hate White and Taverne, you know. Yeah, I'd like to see Dillian get a crack at it, man. Why not?
I think Dillian White could not only beat Wilder, he could beat Joseph Parker.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if you're not going to fight, if I'm Wilder, if I'm not going to fight Joseph Parker, you know, then why not take this fight? I mean, you're not going to fight. You're not fighting anybody. Seriously, I mean, he's not fighting anybody.
I want someone.
Now, look.
I want someone to fight Luis Ortiz.
I'm saying derogatory stuff against Parker, but at least he's got a fight scheduled, for Christ's sake. You know.
But I want someone to fight Luis Ortiz. You know why? Because I just don't believe that he's the boogeyman that everyone makes him out to be. There's a lot of chinks in his armor. I think he fights at a very slow pace. Who did he really beat? Brian Jennings. And again, I love Brian Jennings. Don't get me wrong. He just caught him cold. And I'm not trying to diminish that victory at all. But after that, what has he done since? And what has he done before, to be honest with you?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and look at it. Anybody could step in the ring with Wilder right now and probably beat him because he's been so inactive. He hasn't fought since when? April?
And I don't think he's gotten better. I think, we've seen him have some, pretty mediocre performances against some not so great guys. And he's just not getting better. He's not getting better. I don't see him improving.
I don't know.
He's getting worse.
Oh.
I think he's regressing. I agree.
Mike Alvarado, Robbie, your boy, Mile High Mike versus Sidney Segura. Alvarado wins via 4th round KO. He laid that guy out. I didn't see the fight, but I tell you what, based on his face, it looked like he went life and death with this guy and knocked him out in the 4th round. I think what did they say? He was on a 4 or 5 fight winning streak and everything like that. I don't know, man.
Devastating knockout punch, though.
It was a good one. He laid him out, boy.
Yeah, that was no joke.
It looked like that bar fight punch where he just laid that dude out, boy, like bam.
That was no joke.
Yeah, I'm not convinced on Alvarado. What about you, Robert? Are you convinced that he's making this comeback? Or
No.
Wow, that was quick.
Have a nice rematch of Brandon Rios.
Yeah, there you
go.
There it
go.
is.
Why not? Victor Ortiz.
There you go. There it is. All right, let's go to these phone lines here. We got a few callers here. Let's go to area code 708. 708, you're live.
What's happening, fellas? How's it going?
What's up,
good
man?
evening, John. How are you?
I'm doing. I've been kind of busy, so.
Did we lose it?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we got you.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, I didn't see the Alvarado fight, but you're right. He did look like he went life and death with the guy they pulled off the bar stool before at about 6 p.m. to fight him. But it looked like a good knockout. I mean, that was a pretty picturesque knockout right there. But
yeah.
Shakur Stevenson, I think the kid looks like he's pretty good. I don't know. I think the jury's still out on that kid. Until we see him fight anybody with some substance, I'm not ready to make a judgment call on that kid yet. Because, he looks like he's, like Beeb said, he doesn't have the fast twitch fibers. He doesn't look explosive. He just looks like he's fundamentally sound.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great analysis.
I heard a click. I thought I was gone there.
No, that's a great analysis. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
How'd you like him just basically telling Andre Ward, sit down, boy, you're not number one pound. Teddy Atlas is something else. I don't see how you dethrone Andre Ward. I mean, you can't do that.
No.
I think it's definitely Ward. Crawford is number 2 in my book. I mean, because if you really look at it, if they were the same weight, I would pick Crawford to beat Ward. But
maybe so, yeah.
You can't even match him right now. It's not even comparable. And Andre Ward, he's done it all, So I mean, you can't just take Andre. I don't think Lomachenko belongs anywhere in the top 5. I'd put him maybe around 8 or 9 just on talent alone. But he's beaten Walters. He's beaten a couple of good fighters, but Gary Russell. But he does not number 1 pound for pound. I mean, what the heck is Teddy Atlas thinking? This is not the prospect or the hopeless. This is what have you done in boxing, pound for pound. Not what I see you could do. Yeah, talent-wise, he's up there. He's got to be the most talented fighter I've seen in a long time. But he's still got to beat a few guys in my book.
No, let me throw this in there too.
Terence Crawford. I mean, this kid.
Let me throw this in there too before we crown Terence Crawford king. What about Triple G? What about Canelo and Triple G? I mean, have they just fallen off the radar? Whoever wins that fight next month, then they're going to be the new top pound for pound guy. I mean, it's just what have you done for me lately? That's why it's hard.
Well, this is the thing too with Teddy Atlas. He doesn't even have Golovkin on his list, and
yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's just retarded. I'm not really a fan of this list. I'm not a guy that really makes a list myself, but I look at a group of fighters and I know that they're among the best fighters in the world. I think it's pretty obvious. Everyone's top 5 should be pretty similar. I'm sure a few of the names may be interchangeable.
Yeah.
But if Golovkin's not in your, if you don't even think Golovkin's among one of the best fighters in the world today, then I don't know what to say. I don't know how to.
Frankly, you're hating that.
Frankly, guys, I don't care about these lists, but you cannot have a list without having Triple G somewhere on that list.
No,
exactly.
He's definitely in the top 5 pound for pound.
You got to give him that. Yeah, you got to give him. He may not be at the top of the list.
I got Ward, Crawford, Canelo, Triple G, and I'm just trying to think of who would be the other fighter I put in my top 5.
But how do we leapfrog?
Those 4 fighters are there.
How do we leapfrog Crawford over Canelo? I mean, with all Canelo's done and everybody he's fought and the titles he's collected.
I don't think.
Yeah, I mean that's my thing anyway. That's how that's tough for me because I mean based on Indongo.
Yeah.
But really, who has? If you really look at who Canelo has beaten, he has 2 very questionable. Now I gave him the win versus Lara, and I gave him the win versus Trout, but those are very questionable wins. A lot of people had him losing those fights.
Yeah.
He lost to Mayweather, and then who has he beat? He's beat Angulo, who I mean, this guy's got bricks on his feet. Couldn't fight his way out of a garbage can, and not in my opinion anymore. Kirkland, who was shot and didn't have Van Wolf. He beat Amir Khan, who was 20 pounds, 30 pounds lighter than him, and his jaw's made out of freaking porcelain. You got DC, whatever his name is.
Liam Smith.
I mean, who's he really? Canelo looks great.
And he beat Cotto. He beat Cotto.
Yeah, he beat Cotto.
I'll give you that. That's the one. He did beat Cotto. He beat Cotto, but when you look at them next to each other, Canelo is so much bigger than Cotto. But yeah, I will definitely give him that fight.
Yeah.
I'll definitely give him that fight, though. Cotto's a legit Hall of Famer. He did beat. So I mean, I don't know. I think that's why I put Canelo number 3 on my list. I basically have it Ward, Crawford, Canelo, Golovkin as my top 4.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I see it.
But really, they're so they're basically all based on opinion. So I'm just glad we got a unified champion. And I would like to see him move up and fight some of these guys at welterweight. I think Crawford and Thurman would be a terrific fight.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I just hope the boxing politics doesn't interfere with all that.
It may, but I think Bob Arum, now that he's made this very savvy move, having his fighters fight on ESPN and ABC, it's almost gonna. They're gonna have to tangle with Golden Boy here and there. And PBC, where are they left to go? I mean, when's the last good PBC show has been on TV?
my God, we have to go back a ways.
March. It was Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman.
That's right.
Realistically, and then they basically closed doors for the rest of 2017. When boxing has had its best year since I can remember, PBC has basically been dormant. Deontay Wilder on the shelf. I mean, Earl Spence did go. I mean, handle his business, but I mean, other than that, PBC has basically shut his doors for business.
Pretty much.
All those fighters, man. And how is it? How is it like?
See. We'll see. Exactly.
How is it like Bob Arum and like
but
Top
they get
Rank?
paid good.
Yeah, right. Top Rank has been able to kind of parlay this thing. I mean, you're talking about Beeb was saying something about it's possible Andre Ward might move over to Top Rank because of this ESPN deal, and they've done so much with just a small amount of this ESPN deal. You know,
I'm not 100%
forever, and they couldn't do anything with it.
I'm not 100% sure.
I did hear Ward was definitely looking to go over to Top Rank.
Yeah, just a rumor. Just a rumor. I'm not.
But my whole thing is this: I'm not 100% sure he'll go to Top Rank, but I suspect that he may have some fights on ESPN, because why was he there last night? If anything, Rock Nation could jump into this with ESPN a little bit, get some dates. I don't know, but as Andre Ward did mention, I was listening to an interview.
Party?
Yeah, I don't know, but as I mentioned,
Sonny Fredrickson, that's about it.
Yeah, I mentioned to Eric that Andre Ward's deal with HBO is up. That was his last fight, second fight with Kovalev. So he's a free agent now. So it's going to be interesting to see. He was there last night. Who knows? Maybe they'll find a way to get him some fights on ESPN. Why not?
And you know what? I got to be honest here. Andre Ward was a lot better at ringside than Tim Bradley was. I'd like to see.
Oh yeah,
Andre Ward.
I'd like to see. I'd like to see Joe Tessitore, Teddy Atlas, and Andre Ward from now on.
Because at least Ward will challenge Teddy.
Little slapping boy over there. I think this. No, you don't, Timmy. No, you don't. Okay, boss. Yeah, coach.
Very good, man.
Teddy Atlas changed his mind like 3 or 4 times in that fight.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the time, fellas. Enjoy the show, and you guys keep up the great work.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, see you, John. Thanks for the call.
All right, John.
Good deal. Good deal. Let's go to 405. 405, area code 405. You are live.
How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, what's
Santos,
up, man?
What's up? I'm all right. I watched the fight last night. Terence Crawford, he looked pretty good. I think right off the bat in the first round when he caught Indongo with a left hook, kind of seen Indongo back up on his back for it, and you knew right away it hurt him. And like Beef had said earlier, Ndongo's shots were real wide, and it was only a matter of time before he got caught with something. But I personally like to see Crawford stay at 140 to hold it down there for a while until somebody has to come up and fight him. I think once he gets up to 147, I think the only person that could beat him there is Errol Spence, and that's it. I think Keith Thurman's easy work for him. And all the other fighters are the same. Errol Spence is the one that I see beating Crawford. And how the last caller was talking about how Andre Ward, I think Bob Arum probably probably thinking like, if I could get Andre Ward to sign with me, maybe he could like later on down the line line him up with Bostic, or I think I had seen in an article, I think Bitter BF is gonna be in a ESPN card with top rank. I'm not sure about that. I have to check. Maybe if Bob Arum can get Bitter BF to sign with him, maybe that could be a fight down the line too, because I think Bitter BF might be lined up for a mandatory for Andre Ward. But
yeah,
it was
I think that's a good fight.
It was a good night of boxing. I liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you think of Shakur Stevenson?
I think you guys are right. He has no power at all. I think in his last fight, didn't hurt his hand, I think. So that kind of takes away from him saying on the punching and stuff. I think that's going to be a problem for him, is that punching power. It seems like he doesn't have any. Later on down the line, so pretty much he don't need it. I don't think he should be doing the same to other fighters. But he looks okay. He looks good.
Do you think he's a potential champion? Do you think? I mean, I was concerned about the lack of power, and he's not looking really spectacular, but he is. He does have all the fundamentals down.
Yeah, he does. I think he could be able to get a title from you know how they always have like a vacant title or somebody. I think he could get one of those, but it's a little bit tough for him moving on up with that. Like you guys were talking about, Lomachenko doesn't have power to knock out power too, but he pushes punches together and gets them out of there, or beats them pretty bad.
Yeah,
it's kind of embarrassing them.
Yeah, that could happen as well. So let me ask you: are you buying the McGregor fight? Are you McGregor Mayweather? You buying it?
No, I'm going to a wedding, so I'm not gonna watch it.
I'm
actually more excited for the 24/7 coming on after that. For the Canelo and Triple G.
Yeah, I heard that's the same night. I heard it's right after the Cotto fight.
That debuts on Saturday after the Cotto fight, episode 1, and then episode 2 will be after the Superfly card. So on September 9th.
That Superfly card.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to that Superfly card, so I'm excited.
Are you really? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to that one.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's going to be my first fight I'm going to ever, but I couldn't miss this one. This one was a stat card. I couldn't miss this one.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
So I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one either.
About Wilder, you guys are exactly right. Like, what's he going to fight? Is he just going to sit at his house and wait for Anthony Joshua? Didn't Dylan White offer him like $4 million, $4.5 million?
He's going to sit there and collect his Social Security and hang on to that title with dear life.
And you guys were saying Dylan White would be the best name on his resume. He's not better.
By far.
Than Dylan White. I don't think.
Yeah, by far.
The whole Wilder thing, when he was calling out Ortiz, he was trying to get a fight with Ortiz. I think that was all BS. I think he was just trying to call him out. And at the end, when he was mandated to fight Stavern again, he was like, well, I was trying to get the fight with Ortiz, but I couldn't get it. It was one of those things where he tried to make it seem like he was trying to, but he could get what he's making now, $1 million, 1.2 with Dylan White.
Well, unfortunately, we're probably going to get stuck with that stupid Stavern rematch, which nobody wants to see.
Nobody wants to see that fight. I mean, nobody, and they're having to try that. They're trying to get that out of there because nobody wants to see that fight. I have no idea, how is Stavern even the mandatory again? How in the world does that happen?
I have no freaking idea.
I mean, seriously, who I don't know, man. He didn't look great in that first fight with Wilder. I mean, I thought I thought Wilder beat him pretty decisively. It wasn't even,
he did.
Yeah. I mean, like 10-2 or something like that. I mean, it wasn't even close.
I hate to say this, Eric, but you got to give Vermain Stavern credit for one thing. He managed to take Wilder 12 rounds. Nobody else has done that.
Yeah, that's true. Champ Ross just said in the chat that Don King, and I was thinking that same thing. Don King does have ties with the WBC, and they're right. And he's Stavern's promoter.
Right. Yep.
So there you go. Santos, anything else?
Beeb's a question.
Yeah.
Beeb's if it was supposed to happen, the Mikey Garcia and Terence Crawford fight, how would you see that fight playing? That'd be a good one right there.
I love Mikey Garcia, but I love Mikey Garcia, but I think Terence Crawford beats him. I think Terence Crawford, as good as Mikey Garcia is, Terence Crawford is just better in every category, in my opinion. Except for, I mean, the counter punch would be pretty equal, but Crawford's just too fast. Mikey Garcia is great with his timing, and he's good at just seeing things in there. And he's a very crafty, intelligent guy. He knows how to open guys up too. You got a guy like Crawford who's dangerous in both stances. You got a guy in Crawford who can hit very, very hard. Definitely can hit harder than Mike Garcia. Definitely more explosive. Definitely quicker. But he's also very slick with the upper body movement. And I think Mikey Garcia would have to probably come a little bit outside of himself to get to Crawford, or at least try to get to Crawford. And in doing so, I think Crawford will, be able to lure him into some exchanges, and he'll get the better of those exchanges, in my opinion. I think Mikey Garcia. I think he's a great fighter.
Crawford can fight with both hands.
That's what I just said, Robert. But
yeah.
I just think that as good as Garcia is, I just think Crawford's better. As simple as that.
There it is. Santos, man, we appreciate the call, man. We're going to go ahead and get running. Call back, man. Call back next week, man. Love it. Love it. All right, let's move ahead to area code 508. 508.
Georgie.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
What's happening, Georgie?
What's cracking, people? Unify, undisputed, Mr. Crawford. Listen, Crawford did his thing, man, but we gotta be honest. That fucking 140 is a desert, B. He's like the king of the desert. I don't want to minimize his accomplishment, but bro, there is nobody there. Come on.
I gotta be honest, man. I agree with him a little bit, man. I mean, yeah. I mean, who's there? Garcia's going down to 135. Everybody talking about Garcia Crawford. Garcia's going back down to 135. He's not staying there, and he's not getting a shot at Crawford anyway. So, and Crawford's moving up.
Gotta move up. If that man don't move up, it's nothing really to talk about. What the fuck he gonna be beating Mighty Joe? Said everybody in 140. I don't want to see no fucking abuses.
Yeah.
You know. And Dingo, this man is what fucking I understand for fighting for the unified, undisputed championship of the world. And this man with this wide punching, mill winging shit, it just don't make sense. That shows a lot about the state of the division. Plus, how many times he defended his belt? Didn't he just get those shits?
Yeah, 2 in a row.
The other bomb?
2 in a row. He beat Troyanovsky, and he beat what's his face, Ricky Burns for him. But he did it on the road.
Jesus Christ! Every time you see Ricky Burns, he just get a stomp on. Ricky Burns is just gonna go there and get beat by everybody.
Oh.
So I mean, when you're talking the belt from these type of people who haven't even defended 4 or 5. I remember back in the day, before somebody called you champ, you have to defend your shit 3 or 4 times. If not, you're just a belt holder.
Yeah.
That's how it used to be, but now I don't know. It just don't take much. You got a belt, okay, you're the champ. Everybody called you champ, yeah, champ. But you needed to defend it back in the days. Now it's not like that. Another thing I want to touch on is about a tune-up fight. Could you explain to me what's a tune-up fight? Because for me, a tune-up fight was a fight before the big fight.
Yeah.
Like before a unification like that, or before a title shot, or before another guy who's a really good prospect about to go there. But now every single fight, yeah, that's a tune-up fight.
Yeah, like a stay busy fight. It was like a stay busy fight before your big fight. You're gonna go in there and tune up before you fight the champion or fight this big fight. It was a fight before the big fight.
It's like the new generation using this word loosely now. You know what I'm saying? So they losing meaning. The meaning is not there no more. So I don't know. But Crawford is his thing. The man is good. I would love to see him again if he moves to 147 to see him against Porter. So if he can pass the linebacker challenge, he pass the back line, he pass that challenge, then you know he's good. He's really good on 147.
I agree.
But you got to pass with Porter. I seen Porter as like the fucking gatekeeper 147. If you beat him, then yeah, you go fight for a championship. But who knows what's gonna happen when this man gonna fight again? Who knows? We don't see none of that happening. I would like to see you guys don't be said that he don't want to talk about pound for pound list, maybe by winning the list. So I need some name from you guys. We have to have a consensus of who we got at least top 5. Yellow.
Yeah. Anyone? Robert?
I'm trying to think because I really don't care about these lists. But you obviously have to put Andre Ward number 1. I mean,
all right. Let's stop right there, Robbie.
Okay.
We all agree with this. I agree with it. As you agree with it, Eric.
I do. I think Ward is number 1. I think Ward is number 1.
I agree with that. If I had to make a choice.
You can flow with that? All right, so we can agree on Ward. So who we got number 2?
I think I have Canelo number 2. Let me double check here. Who do I have?
Jesus Christ, Eric! Blasphemy! Stop it! You see where the controversy starts.
I've got Canelo. All right.
How could you have Canelo number 2?
I've got Canelo number 2.
Nobody at 154.
I've got Canelo number 2. He's put everybody to sleep.
Oh, geez.
I've got Triple G number 3. And this is an old list because I've got Anthony Joshua number 4 and Vasil Lomachenko number 5. Who's better? Who's better?
Well, you gotta update that. You gotta
Who's better? Who's better? Who's better? Who's better than Andre Ward? Who's better than Andre Ward? Everybody's talking about Triple G. Everybody's talking about Triple G and Canelo as number 2. There it is, 2 and 3. We got those guys on there. Who beats Anthony Joshua? Give me one guy in the world that beats Anthony Joshua. Nobody.
Absolutely nobody right now.
Nobody.
What they could beat him. What they could beat him.
What?
No.
It's possible.
Well, why?
That's a 50-50 chance.
No.
They got that punch.
No, it's not even a 50-50 chance.
What would the line? What would the line be on that fight?
There's one way to win.
Anthony Joshua. No fucking way.
It is possible. It is possible. I'm not saying he's going to beat him, but
it's possible.
Listen, he's going to be really close.
It's possible. I mean,
no way.
It's possible McGregor's going to beat Mayweather, but you know.
If Klitschko pull him down, Wilder can pull him down too.
Well,
And
Vladimir Klitschko has a hell of a lot more experience than Deontay Wilder. That's how you put him down.
True that. Great point, Robbie. Great point. So, Beeb, so who you got? Who you got on your list, buddy? Don't let me go without. Let me know who you got.
If I have to make a list, this is going to be my list.
He knows he's
Andre Ward, Terence Crawford, Gennady Golovkin probably. Who else? I don't know if I'd put Canelo up after that. So Andre Ward, Crawford, Golovkin. Maybe I would throw Canelo in there. Maybe.
What about Joshua, Beeb?
Oh, actually, I put Joshua. Then I put Rigondeaux. Then I put Canelo. Then I put actually I put Lomachenko. Then I put Canelo. And wow. Who else could I put there? That's 7, right? I'm stuck right here. Oh, Mikey Garcia. Number 8.
Adrian Broner, where's he at on your list?
And I got 2 slots left. So Mikey Garcia. Then I got 2 slots left. I don't know, man. I'm stuck on the last 2 spots.
So you got Broner and who else? Broner and Warren, Rasheed Warren, and, Adrian Broner.
What did I put in those last 2 slots?
I told you who to put in.
It's hard to say.
That's a good list, Beeb. Let's not throw this.
I got 8 there, man. Who did I put?
Fucking Ross Saka in the
Oh,
nobody else.
Oh my God.
Listen, bro.
Maybe Errol Spence. Errol Spence number 9. Then I gotta find a 10.
That's the thing. Like, if the thing with the pound for pound list is like 60% eye test and like 40% resume. Because we go by resume, I cannot really put Rigondeaux there. But as I
Oh, Thurman. I'll put Thurman number 9 and Spence number 10. That's right. I gotta get Thurman because Thurman's been holding it down.
Yo, babe, like, listen back. Rigo should not be on top, anybody's top 5. And I love Rigo. But it's based on a position. Like, if I go eye test, I may squeeze him on top 5 because of the eye test, but because the opposition that he be facing, which is not his fault, because a lot of people be blackballing him, you know, like the fucking mafia after Bob. I don't say what he said. His main career just fell. Nothing happened with him. So for that, I understand that he's not facing the opposition that he should face. So, you know, because he got the fucking machine against him. So on eye test, yeah, I can pull him up there, top 5 because of skill. The same with Loma. Loma with a small record, you can see the skill. So a lot of people I wouldn't go number 1. So what's another shit? What's the when Teddy Atlas is not using cocaine? When these men grab that crack pipe? Anybody know?
Probably a commercial break, I would imagine.
He's talking some reckless shit. I used to love Teddy, but Teddy be talking some crazy shit. I don't know what's wrong with him. What's wrong with Teddy? So that's pretty much my call. I just wanted, make clear about, these pound for pound lists, that this thing is like a spooky thing, you just, a lot of people got different opinions, but we got to go with the record and eye test. And sadly, because the fucking mafia don't let people fight who they really have to fight, we got to lean more with the eye test than the record, So thank you, mafia, for fucking shit up. That's pretty much my call. Thanks for listening to me, guys, and great show like always. Everybody out there, donate and support. Support, give the thumb up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Georgie, the great call as always, man. He is always on fire, man. Always. 1111111. You are online. You're next.
What's good, fellas?
Wood, what's happening? I had a feeling it was you.
Hey, Wood, what's up?
Not much. I'm at the house this week, so I'm checking in with you guys. I honestly, and shout out to Beeb putting together a top 10 or a lengthy pound for pound list. But like Georgie just mentioned, with some of these guys not willing to fight one another or not being able to fight each other due to promotional, who they're signed with promotionally and whatnot. I don't know how you get there. Even looking down the list on the next 10 guys, at super lightweight for Crawford. I don't even know most of those guys. I think I know 3 or 4 of them. Eric, Sonny Fredrickson just jumped in at number 9 on the WBA.
Yeah.
But just as an Ohio thing. But I don't know. I've seen with Crawford and Andre Ward, not the Kovalev fights notwithstanding those, I've just seen those guys win a number of different ways against different opponents that, I was interested to see, how they would adapt to some of these different styles that they face. But with somebody like Lomachenko, I can't really say that I've seen him fight a bunch of different styles so far in just his 9 or 10 fights, whatever it is. I haven't seen him do that just yet.
Yeah, I think that, pound for pound, like I said, man, those lists are so subjective, man. Some people have Ward on top. Some people have Crawford on top. Some people have Triple G on top. And I think it's only as good, I really do, I think it's only as good as your last fight. And if you fought yesterday and you won, you're probably pound for pound. On September 17th, Canelo or Triple G will be the best pound for pound fighter out there. It's going to change every time. And one of those guys will leapfrog over Terence Crawford. They'll leapfrog over Errol Spence and everybody else, Andre Ward included, and they'll be the top pound for pound fighter. If Floyd Mayweather wins the 27th, on the 27th, he'll be the top pound for pound fighter. You know what I mean? It's just like, there's not a whole lot of, I don't really know that there's a lot of thought put into these lists, and how you could put Crawford as pound for pound number 1 based on, on his resume and his body of work and everything like that. I don't know. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be top 5. Does he deserve to be number 1? No, I don't believe it. No.
Now that's kind of dangerous, Eric, because by that line of thinking, if McGregor was to put it all together and, the solar eclipse happens on the 26th instead of the 21st, and he knocks out Mayweather, he's pound for pound number 1 in all of boxing.
He's TBE. He's the best ever. Right now, Terence Crawford's the lineal TBE because he beat Julius Indongo. So what are you going to do? Yeah, no. If he knocks out, if he knocks out Mayweather, I don't know, man. That's a tough sell, man. I can't even think that. I can't even rationally picture that in my head.
Yeah, that is a stretch. Hey, you guys are, I mean, we're all kind of, I guess, boxing media or whatever, or media adjacent or whatever. Did you guys have any problem with Rayfield not getting a sit-down interview with Mayweather as in favor of Stephen A. Smith getting to throw all his softball fanboy stuff to Mayweather? I mean, for some of us that
I hate Stephen A. Smith with a passion. He sucks.
I think what it comes down to with ESPN, they wanted to have Mayweather on their platform, and I hate to say this, but it might even be a racial thing. Maybe Mayweather said, "Look, I'm only going to talk to this guy. I'm not talking to your boxing guy."
You know what? I don't blame him. Hey, I'll tell you right now, I don't blame him because Dan Rafael has trashed this fight at every turn. He said he wasn't going. He called it a farce. He called it a circus and a sham and everything else you could possibly think about. Why would I sit down with that guy and give him any of my time? Whereas Stephen A. Smith, even though I don't like him, is a Mayweather guy. You know, he's a Mayweather guy, and he talked about the fight, and he gave it a fair chance and everything like that. But Dan Rafael, their boxing guy, has trashed this fight. And you know, what? I hope
what, Eric? He's been ordered to go there by ESPN. He'll be in Las Vegas.
Good, because he said he was going to go to the Cotto fight or whatever. You know, listen, man. I mean, you can't you can't sit there and trash that fight, especially since you're the boxing guy. And then you know what an idiot he looks like now. Of course, he's not going to get an interview. They'd be lucky to get credentialed.
Yeah, but
I
get all that, but I'm just saying I have to trust in the fact. I mean, when we're all on these conference calls, I'll be damned if Dan Rafael doesn't get his question in. I can't get my question in.
Nobody gets a question in. Yep.
I have the same problem when I go on those conference calls. Dan Rafael gets to ask multiple questions, and the rest of us are just sitting there.
Exactly. So I'm saying I have to think in my heart of hearts that if Rafael gets a chance to sit down with Mayweather, yeah, he's probably going to ask some tougher questions, but I think he's going to do his job. I mean, he's going to be a professional, but I'm just saying some of this, the fanboy stuff, the biased, conversation that we get from Stephen A. Smith, I don't really want to hear that. I mean, we already complained about him jacking up the post shows on ESPN's cards. Now I got to sit here and watch two buddies shoot the breeze about, this fight.
Right. Well, thank God he wasn't on last night. Thank God he wasn't on last night. That was one of the good things.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, I just feel like it would have been nice since ESPN does have the platform that it has. It would have been great to see some more. I mean, he's not even Stephen Smith. A. Smith's not even asking anything, that's even useful. I mean, the casual fan, the MMA guy is tuning into that and maybe getting a little heated at, some of the responses that Mayweather is going to give or whatnot. But I don't know. I just don't even like his line of questioning to a boxer.
No, I don't either. He's not a boxing guy. He doesn't know about the sport.
Exactly.
He doesn't. I mean, he's a casual fan. So, me finding out, him interviewing Mayweather and us finding out what his favorite color is doesn't do me any good. I'd much rather see Dan Rafael do it. At the same time, I can understand why Mayweather wouldn't give Rafael an interview. I have zero problems with him not giving Rafael an interview. And I don't think it's a racial thing. I don't think it's listen, if Rafael would have at least just shown some respect with the fight, why would a promoter put him on if he's trashing that fight? You know what I mean? Nobody's going to do that. Why would you? So he can go up there and try to rip this fight and everything like that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, Eric, I've listened to other shows and I've read articles and people have written articles and stuff. Well, why isn't Dan Rafael on the ESPN cards? Well, maybe they don't want him on TV because they know what kind of opinions he's going to give. Maybe that's why they want him as a writer, so he doesn't make a fool out of himself, on TV.
Well, and I don't see Dan Rafael on TV too much, man.
But Dan Rafael is not an analyst. He's a reporter. He's a reporter. He gets the scoop. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He's not an analyst. I'm sorry, Wood. I didn't mean to.
But he still has no problem. I mean, but he still has the breadth of his knowledge of what's current in the sport. It still would be good to have some of his questions and his insight on some different things versus somebody like, and I know he may not be TV friendly or whatever, but I'm just saying, I think it's sending a mixed message to viewers. And how could you keep Rayfield off with his opinions if Atlas is able to stand on there with his crazy, pound for pound list in front of two guys, within that are great in their own right, and you put Vasil Lomachenko up here, and I think Thurman was in there, whatnot. I just think, at least with the boxing guy in there, that's gonna, because you might be able to ask question 1 and question 2, but do you know the follow-up question and how that relates to, where a fighter is ranked across all of the ABC, organizations, or do you know who fought, who sidestepped somebody or paid somebody, to step aside? I just think some of those different angles of boxing is what we don't get if you don't have somebody like Rayfield who's writing about this stuff and reporting this stuff every day.
There you go.
Good point, Wood.
Wood, where can we find your show?
Oh, man. TalkLoudRadio.com has it on there. But everywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find the Pay Me No Mind show. But like I said, to find the network that I'm on, it is Talk Loud Radio. I wanted to get my the next time we talk, it'll be after the big fight. I haven't found a place to watch it yet, but I'm just predicting that by about round 6 or 7, I think Bird is coming over and checking in with the McGregor corner and saying, if I don't see something from you, if you don't start protecting yourself better, I'm gonna have to stop this.
Wow. Woods on record. Mayweather.
So we gotta bet the knockout proposition for Mayweather. Is that correct?
I'm not. I don't know, because I don't think it's a knockout. I think the fight just might have to be stopped at some point. I don't know. I don't know if Mayweather's punch output is gonna be high enough to.
That's what I'm saying.
To wear down McGregor and get a flat out knockout. But he might hit him a clean 8 or 10 times around. And at some point, Bird is like, hey, man, you're not even defending yourself out here. I can't let this continue.
Right. All right. There you go. Hey, Wood's on record, man. Wood's on record. Wood, thank you, sir. Appreciate the call.
I got to come to Cincinnati to watch it, though, Eric.
That's right. That's right. Cincinnati's a lot closer to California. Robbie's watching at his house, so you know how that goes.
I am not watching that fight. And Wood said last week he wasn't going to watch it either.
Yeah, Wood's.
I already called DirecTV. I already called DirecTV, right? And I pretended I was Robbie, and I said, yes, we're all set. We're all set for Saturday. And they said, yes, Mr.
I am not watching that fight.
They said, yes, Mr. Herrick, we have your order already.
All right, let's go over the upcoming fights real quick, and then we'll get into it. August 22nd, Tuesday on PBC on Fox Sports 1. Juan Carlos Piano versus Alexis Santiago, 10 rounds bantamweights. Jamel Herring versus Ladarius Miller, 8 rounds lightweights. Ishe Smith and Ashley Theophane also on that undercard. Now, whether they be televised or not, I don't know. August 25th, Friday, from Miami, Oklahoma on PBC, Fox Sports 1. Sergey Derevchenko versus Terriano Johnson, 12 rounds for the IBF middleweight eliminator. How about that one? And then Emmanuel Alim versus Hugo Centino Jr., 10 rounds middleweights. Charles Conwell also on that undercard, with Damon Nicholson is also on that undercard. Let's see what else we got here. August 26th, there's some fight in Vegas. A guy named Floyd Mayweather Jr., whoever that is, versus Conor McGregor, 12 rounds junior middleweights. Yeah, right. Gervonta Davis versus Francisco Fonseca, 12 rounds for Davis's IBF junior lightweight title. Nathan Cleverly versus Badu Jack, 12 rounds for Cleverly's WBA regular light heavyweight title. Andrew Tabiti versus Steve Cunningham, Jordanis Ugas versus Thomas Delorme, as Sean Porter has pulled out. Ugas has taken his place. There you go. I mean, if you can't pay for that card, I mean, come on, man. That's a killer. Up and down, baby.
Friggin' blockbuster.
No, thank you.
Blockbuster. Blockbuster.
Excuse me.
Carson, California.
Yeah, it's gonna bust you, all right.
HBO also too on Saturday. Miguel Cotto versus Yoshihiro Kamagai. 12 rounds for the vacant WBO junior middleweight title. And then Ray Vargas versus Ronnie Rios. 12 rounds for Vargas' WBC junior featherweight title. Yeah, that's a murderous card right there. Okay, so let's talk about it. Beeb, it's time.
Brianna, it's time.
Chugga, 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 chugga. Choo-choo.
There it is. The train wreck of the week. And the train wreck of the week, what else could it be? Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. I don't think there's anything else it could possibly be. The big fight is this Saturday. I wonder how many of Marciano's family, you remember how they reacted when he got his 49th fight? When it was his 49th fight was against Andre Berto, and how they reacted to that. What are they going to do when he breaks the record on his 50th fight by fighting a guy who has no professional experience, like none? So I don't know, man. Beeb, let's break this fight down. First things first, will it sell out? I checked Ticketmaster today. It definitely, there's seats left, but they sold quite a few. I was surprised, especially with the ticket prices and everything. There's quite a few there.
I think they'll find a way to sell it out. Let's just put it this way. The house will be full.
Yeah, I agree.
And I will also predict, and I could be wrong with this, but I don't think I will be, the live gate record will be broken again.
Yeah.
And I just can't see any other way this is not a blockbuster event. I just can't see it. I don't think so either, man. Pay-per-view numbers. They say the pay-per-view, Dana White is quoted as earlier in the week saying the pay-per-view is trending already to be 4.9 million. That's more than the Pacquiao fight. You think it breaks it? Absolutely, yep.
I think it goes 5. I think everybody wants to see this fight, man.
Also too, I think there's going to be a lot more ways to watch this fight, and I think there's going to be more revenue streams for this fight as well. I think, like I told you, this is in the theaters.
You can also go to movie theaters and watch it apparently too for $40.
That's what I feel like I got a parrot here. I'm saying something. You're repeating exactly what I'm saying. I still love you, though. I still love you, and I'm so happy you're buying the fight.
Watching preseason football or something like that over there.
Sorry, Pete.
I'm always teasing you. But I just think that the way this fight's being promoted, and with the help of McGregor, as opposed to, with all due respect to Pacquiao, he really wasn't selling the fight like McGregor is selling this fight. So, wow, it's gonna be huge.
There it is. All right, let's go back to the phones. We got some people waiting on here. 773, you're live.
Hey guys.
Hey, Dale, what's happening?
In Chicago.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good, man. Good.
Hey Eric, I'm going to take a page out of your book. My pound for pound list is Eddie Ramirez, Adrian Granados, Andre Fonfara. Anyway,
a solid list. I'll tell you that. Solid list.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Daniel Gilmore. I mean, yeah. But
solid.
The all shut down, baby. No. Yeah. No. Thanks, guys. The last couple of weeks, I was actually a little south of Titletown there, Eric, in Lake Cumberland, Kentucky.
Love it.
Weekends ago, out on the lake, very nice.
Love it.
And yeah, exactly. That's like the that's like the number one Cincy vacation spot, right?
It's like the Florida of the Midwest.
But that's right. But anyway, yeah, talking about the fights. Yeah, I mean, Crawford, I mean, that was, again, he's just so damn good. I actually kind of saw it. I don't know. I was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. Not that Indongo would win, but I thought it'd be like a little more competitive. But man, he's just like,
it's good.
You know, it's just forget it. Yeah, his stuff was wide, and you know, Indongo and that, you know, worked on Troyanowski, who maybe probably didn't take him too seriously, and you know, and then he beat Burns. But also, you know, the second round, that knockdown. I thought of your show last week where you're talking about the Paulie and McGregor sparring and the knockdown, and I was like, you know what? That's a perfect example. Indongo, all weird, freaking ducking down. His balance was all crazy.
Yeah.
And Crawford just tapped him, and he freaking fell down. You know, I was like, that's exactly one of those kind of knockdowns. You know. And then he did it for real in the third round. That body shot, man. I felt that damn thing.
Man, that was rough, wasn't it? Man, I mean, that was like a straight shot to the liver. It wasn't even a hook. It was like a straight shot, man. It was like, wow. Yeah, that was vicious, man. So, Dale,
I have to say this too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was saying too, with the feed I got, I actually missed it last night. I was had something going on. I was playing a gig, but so I had to pick it up this morning, and I missed it on ESPN. So I grabbed. Well, let's see what's up there. Thank God for Sky Sports and all those guys across the pond, because I was able to watch the Sky Sports feed, not the ESPN feed. So I feel like I got a win in that regard as far as the commentating. So, but I don't know. Maybe it was great, but I'm thinking I got a bonus on that one by watching the Sky feed. But yeah, no, it was good. And then Gvozdyk, you know, I don't know. I thought that was going to be a little more emphatic, but you know, he did what he had to do, and it took his time. And Baker, you know, looked okay, but I don't know. That one was all right. And then I missed Alvarado, so I know you guys were talking about that. I'll go watch that. I didn't even look at the highlights, so I'll have to go catch that later. But I missed Alvarado, and Stevenson, I kind of agree with you guys' points. You know, looks really good, but boy, I don't know, man. He's gonna need some power. He's doing what he's supposed to do, but he really should be knocking those guys out that they're putting in front of him. So,
yeah, I think so too. I think so too. All right, so let me ask you the big question. Yeah. Let me ask you the big question. Are you watching this weekend, Mayweather-McGregor?
No, but put an asterisk next to it because I have another scheduling conflict. So I have been torn. I've been going back and forth on this. And my initial reaction was, no way, F that. I'm not here to, you know, pay Floyd's taxes, you know, like a lot of people. But as it went on, you know, these two can freaking sell a fight, man.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely.
Guys are some salesmen, man. Yeah, so. and honestly, with all the Paulie BS too, I don't know. I think that almost enticed me more to want to watch it, but so for what that's worth. But yeah, no, scheduling conflict. I'm not gonna be able to see it live. But if I did, I would actually go. I wouldn't buy it myself. I would go to either one of the theaters here or to there's a bar by the United Center that shows all pay-per-views, and they don't even show pay-per-views. They just also show any HBO Showtime fights that are on with sound on and everything. So it's pretty great actually. But the pay-per-views, you pay for the pay-per-view, sound on. That's all they're showing. If you want to come in there and get a drink, you got to pay the cover for the pay-per-view and all that. So yeah, it's a pretty good spot. And so if I was doing it, I would go there. I would sell the full 100. They're probably getting hosed on it too, so they're probably going to charge 40 or something like that instead of the usual 20 or 30 bucks. But
oh, for sure, you know, for sure. Yeah, I can't even imagine how much they're.
Yeah, I mean they're going to get.
Oh, they're getting killed. They're getting killed on the charges. So what's your prediction? Give me your final prediction for the fight.
I do think Floyd by stoppage, but not knockout. Yeah, so
okay.
I quite frankly, I want to knock out, and I don't care which one does it. I'll be honest with you. I love the story either way.
Yeah,
but I do think it's just gonna go like it's supposed to. You know.
There it is. Dale, we're gonna get moving here, man. We appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, man. Go ahead, guys. I was going to say, you guys were talking, I know Beeb said too, like, it goes the distance. That's a win for Conor, man.
Absolutely.
He goes to the cards, and it's a shutout. I don't care. That's a win for Conor.
He makes a distance. Yeah.
You got to stop him.
For sure. I agree. All right, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's move ahead to 915. 915, you are live.
I am here. What's going on, guys?
What's happening? Who am I talking to?
D-Style.
Oh, D-Style, duh.
Trying to D-Style box.
Nice.
A couple stuff right away. I was actually writing some stuff down while you guys were talking. First of all, Crawford's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, right? Second, let me just really quickly tell people the only purpose of pound-for-pound, okay? When pound-for-pound came up, it had nothing to do with people playing like little lists or like here's my list and this is my list and this is my criteria and 60% this and 40% resume and 10% looks and 5%, like none of that. Okay, all these percentages people are making up. Pound for pound started when Ray Robinson was obviously the best fighter in the world, but this was in an era where the best fighter in the world was only the heavyweight champion. Okay, calling any fighter that was not the heavyweight champion of the world was ludicrous. Okay, but they came up with a pound for pound concept to say, look, my eyes don't deceive me. That man is the best fighter in the world, right? Sure, he's not a heavyweight. He can go to heavyweight and beat a heavyweight, but he's the best fighter in the world. And to me, when I look at Crawford, okay, I don't care what percentages people throw at me. They could throw me their list. They could throw me their criteria. When I see Terence Crawford, I am looking at the best fighter in boxing, the most skilled fighter in boxing. I don't think anybody could beat that guy right now, right? That's just my thoughts on that, okay? Also, heavyweights don't belong in the pound for pound list. It's kind of contrary to the whole point of pound for pound. That's all I want to say about that. Now that we got that out of the way, Dan Rafael is not he's never conducted a TV interview with anybody. So why would all of a sudden happen with Floyd? That's not what he does, right? He does interviews with fighters, but it's only like in conferences. It's mainly where he can write an article or something like that. It's not really an on-screen thing. I agree they could have used somebody better than Stephen A. Smith, but that's just not. They have plenty of boxing minds there, but for whatever reason, they picked Stephen A. Smith. And Crawford, what a body shot. I agree with something Andre Ward said. The art of the body punch is a lost art. We're kind of in an era right now where everybody, of course, boxers throw body shots, but it's like that Mexican style body shot mostly that we see. At the hook to the rib, at gancho al hígado. That's mostly what we see nowadays. But, those shots to the solar plexus, we rarely see that nowadays. Guys don't really set those up. And it was a beautiful thing to watch. And very ironic. The last time all 4 belts were on the line, the fight ended with a body shot. When Bernard Hopkins dropped De La Hoya. It's just a fun fact. Okay, so whenever all titles on the line, apparently a fight's going to end by body shot or something.
That's a good bet.
And am I going to buy the fight? No. I ain't buying it, but I'm going to watch it, though. Somebody's going to pay for it. I'm just going to watch it.
So you will watch it. No, for sure. You will watch it.
I'm watching it for free. I'll grace somebody with my presence, and I'll pay for it that way.
There you go. Good deal, man. Good deal. So who's going to win?
Oh, I think McGregor's going to win. I mean, he has a touch of death. He's awkward. He's going to use a karate stance. He's going to catch Mayweather off guard.
Absolutely.
He's going to come in. He's going to dart from 20 feet away, and Mayweather's not going to see it coming. And he's going to knock him out in the first round. I mean, even if Mayweather blocks the punch, I mean, he's going to rattle his brain, and Mayweather's going to fall face first. And then boxing's going to die.
Dude, you know what? I mean, I don't even know how I can argue with that. McGregor sparred the Mountain from Game of Thrones. Beeb, you're familiar with this too. The Mountain from Game of Thrones, and just put it on the guy. How is Floyd? Does Floyd seriously?
But I'm not even done yet.
Shot? Doesn't even have a shot. No shot.
McGregor is unorthodox. He's unorthodox, and not only that, okay, he's not going to box like a boxer. He's going to box like in the boxing rules, but not like a boxer. And also he has self-belief. Like he believes in himself. And that's a very powerful thing.
You know what? I read The Secret, the book The Secret, and that's really all you need is just self-belief. There it is. I mean, that's really, you keep telling yourself over and over.
If I try hard enough, if I really do try hard enough, I can win that Powerball.
You don't even need any skill.
Right.
I can win that Powerball.
Right. You don't need experience. Like who needs experience and
it's all overrated.
All that other stuff.
It's all over. The more experience you have, the older you are. It's all over.
Self-belief. You envision something and it's magical.
Over and over.
You know. Now, for the audience, just in case there's some people scratching their heads right now, I'm obviously being sarcastic, but Mayweather's going to win this fight pretty handily, pretty easily. Look, just all you got to do is listen to people. Do you guys recall anyone saying, "Man, if Pacquiao goes the distance, that's a win for Pacquiao. Even if he loses every round, if he goes the distance, Pacquiao wins that fight." Nobody said that. Nobody said that when he fought Maidana. Nobody said that when he fought Robert Guerrero. Nobody's ever said that. You know, like it does depend. If McGregor looks like a fool and he gets embarrassed for 12 rounds, I'm not exactly sure how that's a win for McGregor. I mean, an L is an L, dude. Like an L is an L.
Because he never fought before.
I think Mayweather's going to win. What's that?
Because he's never fought before. He's never fought professionally, a professional boxer. He's never fought as a professional boxer before. And to come in and take this guy 12 full rounds, to me, now whether he believes it or not, that's a different story. To me,
but this isn't a dude off the streets though. It's not like some mechanic that's coming to boxing. It's still a guy coming from a combative sport. You know, it's not where they do use their fists. You know, it's not that out there really. Like maybe it's a MMA thing. I'm not sure. Something tells me if this was like the best kickboxer in the world or the best Muay Thai fighter in the world that was challenging Mayweather to a boxing match, something tells me we wouldn't really be hearing these type of things. You know, I think we got to put some stuff into perspective here. I mean, Conor McGregor does have an amateur boxing background. He does do, although very limited amount of striking, very limited amount of boxing, that is, but it's still boxing nonetheless, you know. And now, by the way, I'm not saying he stands a shot here. I'm just not. But I think Conor McGregor has the ability to beat like a journeyman boxer or something like that. You know, it's with his athleticism alone, he could probably pull off some upsets here and there. Can it beat Mayweather though? That's just at a whole nother level. No, right? Just putting that out there. And but do I think he goes the distance? No, I don't think he's going to go distance. Outside of Mayweather breaking his hand or injuring a tricep or something, which all these things are possible. Keep in mind it could happen to Conor too. If Conor breaks his hand, which is possible, especially the way he just wildly throws those punches, if he hits the dome of Mayweather in the head, he could break his hand. He's never had to rely on just punching for that long, for that period of time. So he could break his hand too. But I just think that Mayweather is just going to be a little too much for him. You know, I don't see anything in McGregor that tells me, oh yeah, he could totally avoid that jab. He could. When Mayweather hits Conor McGregor with a jab, and this is not just me saying this, a lot of MMA fighters have said this, a lot of kickboxers have said this, a lot of Muay Thai fighters, a lot of guys from different combative sports that spar with boxers. Okay, we're the one discipline that everybody wants to spar with our guys so they can work with their hands. We don't need any of them for our boxing. You know what I mean? Or our boxers don't need any of them. Like our boxers don't need to do anything with an MMA guy. They need us to work with their hands. But the one thing they all say, almost unanimously, it's when you get hit with a jab by a professional boxer, it feels like a right hand. You know, when you get hit, the punches are just heavier. Like their punches are crisper. They're a lot more sharp, these punches. And McGregor, he's going to get hit with shots, and he's not going to exactly know how Mayweather set that up. And Mayweather's very good at setting up traps. You know, Mayweather's going to set up a trap for round 3, and he's going to start it on round 1. And that's the level of chess that I don't believe Conor knows how to play. if it goes a distance, I believe, outside of an injury or something, which is possible, is because Conor McGregor has mentally given up and Mayweather has decided to just stay safe and cruise the rest of the fight, which he has done against some of the best boxers in the world. I mean, Mayweather could have stopped a lot of these guys, but he just got too comfortable. And it's when you're comfortable, you're safe. You know, and if you're winning and dominating, you have no incentive to really pressure a guy. And so that can happen. You know, it is possible. It's also possible that Mayweather starts to put on a show and starts to carry Conor McGregor. And, you know, 4 or 5 rounds later, he decides, okay, now I'm going to press the gas. And he just runs out of time and can't really knock him out to the end of the fight. A lot of stuff could happen. But one way or another, I do believe that Conor McGregor is going to, he might look competitive. By competitive, I don't mean win rounds, but he might look competitive for a round or two, and then it's a wrap. Like, well, once Mayweather figures him out, it's a wrap for him. It's a wrap for his ass. Everybody's talking about a stoppage. I mean, I don't care how light people think Mayweather hits. The amount of times he's going to hit this guy, the only thing Conor McGregor's going to stop is traffic on the way to the hospital, okay, on the ambulance. That's the only thing he's going to stop, okay? He ain't going to be stopping no Mayweather in the ring. Okay, people talking about him winning. He might win, like, the hearts and minds of people, you know. Yeah, he might win, like, you know, the, you know, respect from the fans or something. He might win something like that, but I know he's not going to win the fight.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. D-Style, where can we find you online?
D-Style Boxing is where you could find me online. I always, I don't have a set time. I just randomly go live. Beeb knows this. I just randomly go live whenever. But even if you miss my live feeds, you can always check them out on archive. They're always available to watch. I've actually been responding to a lot of McGregor-Mayweather breakdowns from casual fans. And for those that think, you know, when I called in, I give you that sarcastic breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
These are real breakdowns that people are giving. Like, this is not something. This is not me parroting or doing a parody or over exaggerating. You know, no. Like, this is actual crazy stuff.
That's a trip, man. That is just a trip.
Tell them where the pay-per-views are trending, D-Style. Tell them.
Where can they what?
Tell them where those pay-per-views are trending. The pay-per-views, where are they trending? Because you have an inside track on that a little bit.
It's gonna go. It's gonna go. Well, these things vary, but it's gonna go over 5 million. It's gonna go over 5 million.
100%, it's going over 5 million.
I would say I'm about 90% sure that it goes over. You can never be 100%, but I'm about 90% sure it'll go over 5 million. For those that I was telling people, Pacquiao, Mayweather could go over 4 million. Everybody thought I was crazy. Because of my job, I could kind of see some of the trends, and the numbers right now are higher than they've been for any fight in history. So as of right now, and most people buy the fight the day of the fight. So now that doesn't mean everything. Just like early voting doesn't mean that if you break the early voting record, doesn't mean you're going to break the overall voting on election day. But usually you can see a trend there, you know. And there's no major competition. There's no the NFL is in preseason right now. Like that's no competition for this. There's no NBA right now. We're far away from the playoffs in baseball. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's really nothing there that is competing. Like, what is there on TV? Like, what is there entertainment-wise anywhere that's competing with this fight? Nothing. Usually, like, you'll have, like, a big playoff game of some sport somehow, or some NFL game, or some college football. Maybe college football, I guess. Maybe there'll be some college football out there. But college football is very regional. So it's not really going to matter. So
there it is.
I think this fight is going to break all records for those reasons. And it's also going to break the myth that you have to have a fight on Mexican holidays. You know, like it's finally going to break that myth. We don't have to have the fight on Mexican holidays, guys. Okay. It's okay. Like, it's not like a must, you know, like we just got to do it in the September 15th weekend. Like why? Like who said these things, you know? Just saying.
Catch D-Style on YouTube, man. Watch his videos, man. His videos are great, and he's always impromptu. He always got good points. D-Style, thank you for joining us this weekend, man.
Peace out, guys.
All right, man.
See you later, brother.
All right, 7:06, we are coming to you, but first, so hang on tight, 7:06. But first, all the way from Vancouver. All the way from Vancouver, Russell Scott. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm great, Eric. Thank you so much for having me on your show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
So just to what D-Style was saying there, the better numbers, but you could argue, well, yeah, they'll break all these numbers August 26th. But what if they had done it on Cinco de Mayo weekend? What if they had done it on a more classic part of the calendar? Then they probably would have achieved higher numbers, right? So you don't have that direct comparison.
I would think. I mean, what do you think, Beeb? What do you think about that? If they did this on September 16th or May 5th or whatever, what do you think? Do you think the fight's bigger?
The only reason why I just respectfully disagree with Russell is because generally there's always been a Hispanic fighter as the opponent. That's why they would put it on those days. You don't have that here. And also, this is just a different type of fight where I don't even think a lot of Hispanics are going to buy this. I don't think that's going to be the targeted audience for this fight. And I don't think that's going to be the predominant audience for this fight. I think the UFC demographic.
Cinco de Mayo has to be the weekend, but like October or November, where we've seen a lot of big fights.
Yeah, but August, summertime. This is a time where people really are on vacation and they're not spending a lot of money. So for this to be so successful, given that, I think that speaks volumes as well. But again, look who the two fighters are.
1 million pay-per-view numbers, right?
I think this is going to do 5 million easy.
Remember, a lot of Pacquiao's fights when he was in his prime was like April, October, November.
Yeah.
I think even though I'm against this fight and I'm not going to buy it, I think you could have this fight any time of the year and it would shatter all pay-per-view records, all gate records, and what have you, just because of the way these two guys sell their fight.
Russell, how much is this pay-per-view in Canada?
Date of the calendar. What's that, Eric?
No, this is Beeb. How much is this fight going to cost in Canada on pay-per-view?
Hey, Beeb. Probably 125 HD.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. And, not a lot of places show boxing because boxing just isn't that popular up here. UFC isn't really all that popular up here. People still generally watch hockey. So, there's not like a bar that I can just walk to and watch it. I got to pay for it if I want to see it or watch it on Periscope or.
Wow, I didn't realize that. $125, man.
Yeah, well,
that's steep.
No, he's right. Eric, I used to live in Canada, and when I lived in Canada, it was very difficult to find fights. If you didn't pay for them, you didn't watch them.
Wow.
But I want to make a point here. So the fight itself, the results, Mayweather versus McGregor. I think we can all agree that unless Mayweather knocks him out, it's a win for McGregor.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Right? Now let's look at it this way. What's an MMA round? 5 minutes?
Yeah, 5
minutes.
That's correct.
It's 5
minutes, 5 rounds.
Right. So that's 25 minutes. A championship boxing match is 36. That's an additional 11 minutes. Are you telling me you're going to go with the best fighter of all time, potentially, possibly, another 11 minutes and not hit the canvas? That in itself is why he won't make it. I don't see McGregor going past round 8, surely by exhaustion.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with it. I don't think, but I don't think exhaustion really plays a part in it, man. I think Mayweather's power is going to play the part in it. And I know people are laughing now, but
have you ever boxed? Have you ever boxed, Eric?
Yeah. Yeah. And when
you get hit, it doesn't hurt, right? When you get hit, it doesn't hurt. It makes you lose energy though.
When you get hit, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You do lose energy. I mean, it depends on where you get hit, you know, whether it hurts or not. But yeah, I mean, because he can clip him. But Mayweather's got power. That's what a lot of people don't realize. And I mean, he does have power, and it's a different animal. If he didn't have power, people would just run right through him. You know what I mean? And that's not happening.
Keep this in mind, Eric. Throughout Mayweather's career, he's had trouble with his hands. That's why he doesn't go for a lot of knockouts.
Yeah, he's got more power than people give him respect for. All you have to do is look at Diego Corrales. He put him down 5 times, and he could have put him down several more had he been given the opportunity and enough rounds to do so.
Yeah, I agree.
The Mayweather of young was knocking people out left, right, and center. Just, you know, when you're getting tagged that many times, that fast, that accurately, you're going to go down.
Yeah, and even if his punch output isn't what it used to be, which we suspect it won't be, you know, listen, he still carries pop. He still knows how to throw punches correctly, and it's a difference. It's like D-Style was referencing. He said it's different when you get hit with a jab from a professional boxer, from somebody who knows how to throw a punch versus an MMA guy. It's just different, and I don't care how unorthodox he is. It's a different animal. You know, he's going to be in there with a different animal.
But he doesn't have that one punch knockout power. It's not one punch knockout power, right?
Who's this, Floyd?
So you're saying McGregor's going down a culmination.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, a combination. You know what? And with 8-ounce gloves, though, I mean, man, I tell you what. I mean, and if Mayweather hits you flush, I think he does have one punch power. I think he does. I think he can get him out of there. I really do.
What do you think, Beeb?
You know, in the beginning, I thought Mayweather would definitely stop him, but now I know he's going to win, but I just don't know how. I'm not 100% sure he's going to knock him out because of the hand problems. Because he's always taken the safety first approach. And will it change in this fight? Because I thought he was going to knock out Pacquiao, so I don't want to pick him by knockout and get roped in again. But you made a great point, and because the other side of it is McGregor's stamina. And if you watch Mayweather training now, you know, this may not mean much, but watch him training now, going through the drills, he's throwing an awful lot of body punches, So I think that's going to be part of the plan here. And, you know, these MMA guys, the UFC guys, when they get up close, their first line of defense is the elbows and the knees. They're not really throwing body punches. And so when they're defending against body punches, they're grabbing and, they're pulling you in close, and they're allowed to hold you there. So what's going to happen, if, the scenario happens where Mayweather gets up close in his chest, he starts digging into that body, really grab him by the head and pull him down. He's got to try to freeze the action. But all the while he's trying to freeze the action, he's still going to catch some shots. So I think I'm leaning on the side of the stoppage when I factor in everything. But I'm also concerned that he may just hurt his hand and then he won't be able to punch effectively. And also, he's not a guy, as everyone knows, that brings a fast tempo to the fight. He's going to fight a slow-paced fight. Will that be enough? So it's kind of interesting. But again, Malignaggi made a great point. When he knows he can hurt you, or he knows he can, put you where he wants to put you, he will try to start walking you down. So I'm going to have to lean towards the stoppage if I'm going to, factor in everything in terms of percentages. I'm going to go with the stoppage. Mayweather.
It's funny because when I talk to people about betting it, they go, okay, you got to bet Mayweather to win, and then maybe hedge your play with McGregor knockout.
Yeah, I can't see
Mayweather KO is the best play here. Value.
It has to be.
Sure.
It has to be. It's probably the most probable.
I don't see it going the distance. I can't see it any other way. I mean, I really,
McGregor has a stamina problem as it is in the MMA. How can he go an extra 11 minutes? That's a lot.
Yeah.
You know what nobody's talking about here?
I don't know how many hours in the gym it takes to fight a minute, but it's a lot.
Yeah. You know what nobody's talking about? Is that when McGregor fought Nate Diaz, the first Nate Diaz fight, when he got choked out, he was getting outboxed. Nate Diaz was getting the better on his feet. McGregor went for the takedown because he was getting beat on his feet.
That's a good point.
He was getting outboxed by Nate Diaz, who's a pretty good boxer, who trains, you know, he's sparred Andre Ward. Both him and Nick have sparred Andre Ward. Andre Ward speaks very highly of those two. He was being outboxed by Nate Diaz. He went for the takedown. And Nate Diaz is like a wizard on the ground, so he got choked out. But he was being outboxed. Now, has he come along since then? Of course he has. But listen, if you're being outboxed by Nate Diaz, what do you think you're going to do against Mayweather when it's just hands? What do you think you're going to do?
Then what about this? But then what about this situation with Paulie? You know, Paulie works for Showtime, as you know, and the idea that it could be a work is there's $1 billion in this. It could be a work to sell the fight, to sell the idea that McGregor actually has some skill.
I don't know. I don't, listen, man, I don't know what to make of the Paulie situation. Everything is pointing to Paulie. I mean, like I said,
that's what throws the wrench in the works, right?
It really does.
Doesn't make any sense. Everything made sense until that.
Yeah. I mean, it does.
Two other quick points, too, because a lot of times you can watch a guy train, and in the gym, it's totally different. We hear that being said all the time, because under the lights, the adrenaline is flowing. But also, too, when you're put in a situation where you're uncomfortable, then your adrenaline is working overtime. And obviously, that's going to play a factor in the fatigue, because he's going to be put in situations that he's never been put in before. And I don't think any amount of sparring against Paulie Malignaggi or some of these other guys he's been working with will prepare him for what Mayweather does, because Mayweather can frustrate you. And when he's frustrating you, you're sitting there saying to yourself, what am I going to do here? And then panic sets in. And then when panic sets in, the fight or flight kicks in. And then that's where that adrenaline, as I said, works overtime. So that's going to play into the fatigue factor as well. Definitely, without question.
The other thing is that McGregor's corner is an MMA corner. It's not a boxing corner. And he didn't switch corners for this fight.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? If all these sparring leaks, the whole thing with Van Heerden and obviously with Paulie Malignaggi most recently, my question is, how come they're not, like when he's fighting in MMA, right? Why aren't they leaking footage of him sparring guys in MMA? So obviously this is a ploy as a boxer, because they don't have to do these things.
MMA, yeah,
they don't have to do this when he's fighting MMA, and no other MMA fighter, when they're in a big fight, you very rarely ever see sparring footage being leaked. I don't think it's ever happened. Correct me if I'm wrong.
In fairness, though, how much MMA do you watch? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I've been buying the last couple pay-per-views,
what I'm saying is, how much do you follow in the sense that you're going to go to YouTube? And
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I actually downloaded the UFC app on my devices, and I'm starting to get into it a little bit now. But you're right. Obviously, I don't follow it as closely as boxing. There's no way I'm going to admit that. I can't. But this just isn't done. This just isn't done in the UFC.
This brings
go ahead.
point, guys. Since this is going to be so financially successful, are we going to see other guys from MMA try to do what Conor McGregor does here?
I don't think anyone else can do it like this and bring this amount of attention to an event.
No.
It depends upon the results of the fight.
Correct.
It's completely contingent on how well McGregor does. That's the answer to that.
100%.
And here's another question. What if McGregor wins 4 rounds and maybe he finishes strong at the end of each round, tries to steal those rounds. And a lot of MMA fans, casuals, they'll get sucked into that. And then Mayweather wins and they clamor for the rematch.
Oh man, if they clamor, if it's close enough, if it's close enough to have a rematch in that kind of sense where it wasn't decisive enough, can you imagine the money in that rematch? It's inhuman.
Here we're talking about the first one, but could you realize we could be talking about a second one?
The Powerball,
another $1 billion.
Yeah,
why not?
Powerball is at 650 right now, 650 million in the United States. That's like Floyd Mayweather money. I mean, it's just like would dwarf that. I mean, that would just dwarf.
Okay,
that.
so Floyd Mayweather is the smartest businessman in boxing, right?
Yeah.
What if he just decides to take rounds 3, 6, 7, 8, and 10 off.
I don't think he does it.
Just for that very purpose.
I don't know. I don't.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so, man. I
the
think he's
judges
too
in
competitive.
Vegas are going to score the fight for McGregor?
I think he's just too competitive.
I think Mayweather's got this locked down in lots of different ways. You know.
Yeah. And I wonder, like, if his handlers have talked to him about that. Like, if LRB had said, "Hey, can you imagine if we have a rematch of this fight? How much money we're making now? If we get a rematch, how much?" That's got to come up, right?
Hey,
it has
if I
to.
just thought of it, they thought of it 6 months ago, right?
Oh, for sure. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Right. So, I mean, that's just something. Now, then why did Pacquiao suck? You know, that kind of kills that argument.
Yeah,
if he was
that's
gonna
true.
Do something like that, maybe he would have done it then.
Yeah.
Well, here's another question.
Hey, one last.
Sure.
Yeah.
If Pacquiao beats Jeff Horn and Mayweather wins this fight as we expect, could there be a Pacquiao too?
No, I don't think so. The
Is
money's
that,
not
is,
there
that,
for
is, that, is that impossible?
Yeah, it's impossible. The money's not there for it.
No, I think Crawford gets that fight.
I don't think Crawford gets that fight either way. I think if Horn wins, Crawford gets that fight. But if Pacquiao wins, I don't think they let Pacquiao. I don't think Roach lets Pacquiao fight that fight.
I don't even want to see that fight.
No.
He would massacre Pacquiao.
Oh, he's going to destroy Pacquiao. After what I saw
we don't want to see it.
Yeah.
You know, he's a savant. Terence Crawford is a savant. That's, you know, they come around every once in a while.
So good.
What he did last night was a masterpiece.
Insane.
You know, Roy Jones, you could name others. They're very rare and special people. He's definitely on that pound for pound top 5. I don't know what else put there. Loma, Rigo, Gonzalez. Yeah. I want to say one last thing, Eric. You talked about Anthony Joshua being on the pound for pound. Now, it kind of reiterates what the last guy said, how the pound for pound list was created for Sugar Ray Robinson. I remember when Jim Lampley was going on back when Lennox Lewis was champion. And he says, you know, Lennox Lewis is favored against any man in the world. And that really hit home with me. Holy smokes, Lennox Lewis is the toughest fighter in the world. He would be favored against anybody.
Yeah.
But it's totally, it's apples and oranges. You can't put Anthony Joshua there. You could always put a heavyweight there, and he would be the best.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, though. As a heavyweight fighter, I mean, who beats Anthony Joshua? You know, you could argue maybe other people in the heavyweight division, but absolutely nobody else even comes close. You know, and just like to your point with Lennox Lewis, you put him there, nobody beats that guy in his prime. Nobody in the world. That's it. I mean, end of story. I mean, case closed.
Roy Jones would have had a shot. Because of his athleticism, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think but I think Lennox was just too big. I think even with his athleticism and everything like that, and you take Roy's chin out of it because we didn't know about his chin at the time, and the weight could have had a lot to do with that too. You know, he went up to heavyweight, came all the way back down.
Emmanuel Stewart in Lennox Lewis's corner, Emmanuel would come up with such a game plan that Roy Jones wouldn't know what to do.
Just that jab alone. I mean, just a jab alone would have done it. So
what is that? Emmanuel Stewart versus Virgil Hunter then?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's no contest.
Yeah. Well, we also like to think of Emmanuel Stewart in positive ways since he's passed, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
90 seconds.
Chat with you guys. I know you got another caller waiting.
Absolutely.
Love to do it again. I guess we're all going to watch the fight then, except for Robbie.
Robbie's totally watching the fight.
Robbie bought it already. I already called DirecTV.
I don't know how many more times I got to say.
Even if you can find it for free, suspiciously somewhere.
Yeah, he's watching it.
Hey,
Russell, I offered to pay for it for him. He still won't watch it.
I'm watching it.
60 seconds.
Hey, I suspect there'll be a miracle on 34th Street, wherever you live there. Thanks so much, guys.
Well, wait a minute. Before you go, where can we find you? Where can we find? Tell me about your show, man.
Don't worry about my show. I just want don't worry about my show, guys. Just I think you guys run one of the best boxing shows on YouTube, Beating the Odds with Beeb, Ringside Reporter. To the audience, focus on that. You guys are doing great.
Oh, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much. That was great, man. Great call. Great
Well,
call.
if he's got a show, it deserves to be plugged. Come on.
That's right. That's right. We're going to go to area code 706. Now, before we even get started on 706, Beeb and Robert, just to let you know, this guy has been waiting online for over an hour. Over an hour. And you can talk as long as you want, man.
That's cool.
100%. 706, you're live.
What's up with
Don't worry
Robbie
about
acting like he's Anthony Joshua's new.
What's this?
No, hey, I'm
I said,
you know.
what's up with Robbie acting like he's Anthony Joshua's new girlfriend? What's going on?
Oh, come on.
Whoa! He was ranking on you last week. Now he's attacking Robbie.
Chat, man.
Now he's attacking Robbie.
I started laughing so hard in the chat, man. I was like,
now he's going in on Robbie. You know
Robbie wants Joshua on the pound for pound list over Thurman.
Give me a break.
Thurman deserves it over Joshua, and you know that. I mean, that's just factual, isn't it? Thurman deserves it over Joshua.
No, he's a good guy. I wasn't saying anything.
No, he doesn't deserve it over Joshua.
I'm just messing around. I'm just joking around.
Yeah.
I'm just joking around. But what was I going to say? What about Thurman, man? Nobody mentioned Thurman on their pound for pound list. Why is that?
I did afterwards. Yeah. I put him up there.
He's not.
I thought beating Danny and Porter back to back probably would get him that mention. I thought so.
Yeah, I don't. I
I
don't mind. You know what? I'll tell you what. I don't mind if he's on your pound for pound list. I don't mind that. I don't hate that.
No, he's good, man.
Yeah, he's.
I was just wondering why none of you guys mentioned him. I don't know why you guys hate him.
I did afterwards. Because I remembered him. At first, I forgot about him, and then I remembered him after.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. So you know.
Yeah, that D-style boxing dude made some good points. That Dan Raphael, he hasn't been on ESPN since they canceled that Friday night fights thing. Because remember, they used to have that late night ESPN Sports Center. They used to have him on. Since then, they just pretty much threw him off ESPN. He never comes on TV anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't do many interviews. I mean, and he's their guy. You know, I mean, he's like their boxing guy, and he doesn't do. They don't put him on TV much. I don't know why. I mean, he's always, and I've heard him in interviews. But I've never.
They don't put too many 400-pound people on TV. That's just what they do. I mean, that's probably like a TV rule. You can't put a guy that big on TV that much. I mean, you can't do it. And it seems like when Top Rank did their deal, it seems like Bob Arum, he's got connections. He probably went to the president of Disney, who owns it, like Bob Iger. That's how he's getting all this top talent, like Sports Center people talking about it. And they must have made a deal for Stephen A. Smith to do it because they want boxing to grow more. That has to be the plan, right? Otherwise, why would they bring Stephen A. Smith in?
Yeah, I mean, and you look at ESPN now, boxing is all over the front of their site. I mean, it really is. I mean, they've got the Mayweather-McGregor front and center. They got Triple G front and center. It's predominant on that site. And it's a lot more predominant now than when PBC had it. It was still just like a footnote on there. Now with Top Rank, I mean, they have really done a job.
Off. And PBC gave us some great. They didn't give us too many great fights on ESPN, but they gave us some pretty good ones, and they didn't get shit. They didn't get any promotion on ESPN. I guess Arum just has a lot more connections.
I'll stand by it. I think PBC puts on better fights than Golden Boy does. I really do. If you look at Golden Boy's the fight nights, the LA fight nights, or whatever he puts on, that is just straight like, come on, man. That's like the old USA fights.
And then it almost feels like that anti-Heyman propaganda almost worked on the ESPN people too. I bet Golden Boy and Top Rank were probably bashing Arum fucking every day to their executives. They're like probably bashing PBC's product and be like, "Oh, we could give you way more product." I could just imagine that emails going back and forth bashing Heyman every day. You know?
Yeah, right.
That's probably what happened. Yeah, especially Golden Boy. I mean, their fucking PR director that was trading those emails with that guy that was calling Heyman a nigger and shit. They don't have a fucking shame.
It's crazy.
PBC did all the hard groundwork, and they're reaping the benefits now. Top Rank is getting a fee from ESPN, getting boxing all over, and fucking Maryaga and Lomachenko and Manny and Horn. I mean, those fights nobody asked for them, but people are talking about them.
They've done a good job. I mean, Top Rank has done a great job on ESPN marketing. They really have. And I mean,
what about did you guys notice? TBC always made their main events a lot earlier than Top Rank. It seems like their undercards are fucking going all late as hell. Isn't that kind of bad for them?
Well, not only that, I thought they were going to get clipped by Little League last night. I thought they were going to get clipped, man, because I'm waiting for it to come on. I'm like, man, Little League World Series is on. I look at like sixth inning.
I have my DVR set, and I'm like, can you hurry up and get this over? I don't want to take any of this, you know. And they just barely got it over in time, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Robbie. Robbie, did you buy Canelo versus Chavez?
Yes, I did.
So how could you even talk trash about Conor versus Floyd, like even with a straight face? How could you?
Don't worry.
I didn't expect Chavez to not compete. I mean,
I did.
Going to win.
I did.
How did you not expect that when he did the exact same thing in his prime against what's his name?
Martinez.
Guy from Argentina.
Sergio Martinez. I said it. I said it. I predicted it would happen in this. I predicted he would do the same thing. I predicted it, and he did it.
Yeah.
He did the same against Fonfora, pretty much, didn't he?
Yeah, worse.
Well, with Fonfora, you didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And he lost to that guy from in Texas. What's his name? Reyes or somebody.
Brian Rivera. Brian Rivera.
No.
Reyes.
Remember?
Oh, the Reyes guy too. Yeah.
On Showtime. Yeah, they robbed him. They robbed him. Dude, the fucking Mexican crowd was throwing beer at him in Texas. That never happened.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. I forget who that dude was.
I think Canelo. I already pre-ordered this and they were Mac. I'm kind of glad I didn't buy that bullshit from Golden Boy. Saved me like $300. Did you buy all of those? Canelo versus Smith and Con, Robbie?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, we totally bought those.
The last pay-per-view I didn't pay for, and that's because I know I wasn't home that night, was Timothy Bradley and Juan Manuel Marquez.
But that's what I'm saying. You paid for Canelo Chavez, Canelo Smith. That's what I'm saying. This fight is not that bad. Like even the undercard is not the worst.
I'm not paying $100 for Mayweather-McGregor. I mean, my God, no.
You're gonna do it.
You can score. You can watch. You're gonna watch it.
I did that once. I'm not doing it twice. You know,
Are you gonna watch your tape of? Are you gonna watch your tape of Joshua versus Martin again? You're gonna replay with that?
I didn't take that fight.
They put that fight on pay-per-view in America. Can you imagine if Wilder versus Martin was on pay-per-view in America? What Robbie would say about Heyman? Imagine that.
I wouldn't buy that either.
So who
they had a Molina versus Joshua on pay-per-view also. All those fights are pay-per-view.
So who wins? Who wins the McGregor fight?
In Britain, they're always pay-per-view over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matchroom does. Like Frankie Gavin versus Brooke and frickin' JoJo Jan versus Brooke.
I can't believe that fight was on pay-per-view,
they're all pay-per-view over there. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, what about Benavidez Gabriel? They took it off balance finally and put it on Showtime. I was like, that's pretty good.
Well, and how about Durrell backing out of that fight?
I knew it. He's just doing the acting thing. It's like his brother acts in the ring. He's acting outside of the ring with that fucking fake injury. They're both actors. Fucking
yeah, I know.
I can't believe Heyman even paid $1.4 million to win a purse bid for him against Callum Smith. I was like, why would he do that? I never could understand that. Why would he spend that much money on a guy like Durrell?
I have no idea.
We could get a great fucking stack card for $1.4 million on Showtime instead of Durrell getting that money. But that kind of worked out for him. I think Benavidez is going to be like the next PBC star. That guy can sell tickets and he can fight. So
yes, he can fight, but he'll probably go in the deep freeze like a lot of these PBC fighters, and that part is disgusting. They have all these fighters, but they don't have them fight.
Well, then a lot of them need to start leaving. Then I mean, you can't blame him if they're just fucking sitting around waiting. They need to start leaving. Start going to show Bob Arum and
nobody. And as far as I know, Eric, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Nobody's left Al yet, right?
No, I don't believe so.
Couple like Bonez
and I don't know.
Matisse left him. Lucas Matisse left him. That was a while ago too.
Yeah, I mean, but nobody. They're all. I mean, you know, we complain as much as we complain about Heyman and everybody else. The thing is that they seem to love him. I mean, they stay with him. And you don't hear too many outward complaints.
His purses are higher, even if they fight once a year. His purses seem to be a little bit higher. Like Leo made $1 million twice with Frampton 1.1 and $1 million. Mikey just made $1 million with Broner. So he just made he's at Mikey's had like 3 fights in like a matter of a year, and so he's probably made almost $2 million fighting. So if he doesn't have another fight for 6 months, I don't think he's going to complain because he's probably balling right now.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean that's the thing. When was the last Danny Garcia? I mean, where's he been?
He needs to be on the fucking shelf. He got that fucking Vargas $1 million, then he got $2 million from Thurman. That's $3 million. He can chill for a while. He don't need a fucking fight.
Right.
Unless he wants to fight Porter. That's probably what it is. They're telling him fight Porter or you can have this weight. That's probably what's going on, right?
Yeah, I don't know what's in Porter. Porter's shutting it down until next year, I think. I don't think he's fighting anytime soon. So
Danny's made a lot of big paydays. Danny, Thurman, Guerrero, they've probably made a lot of money from PBC. They probably made $7-8 million, all of them.
Oh yeah,
$7 to $10 million, all of them. Broner's last $1 million pay. And, boy, what about Leo and Carl's canceled? I think Carl might fight Mars or something. That would be a winnable fight for Carl and Mars, though. That's like a more 50-50 fight, isn't it?
Oh, you mean Leo got out of that fight? I didn't hear that.
I think they said the money or whatever. So Leo versus Mars is off. So I'm saying Mars and Frampton could fight, couldn't they?
I don't see why
could be
not.
a cheaper fight for them.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, well,
if that fight is canceled, yeah,
I didn't hear
that's probably more action-packed fight.
Okay.
What about Skip Bayless? Have you guys been watching him on freaking the amount of kicks he's been making for fucking McGregor? He's like, the other day he said Nate Diaz was 40 pounds heavier than McGregor, and he had like a 6-inch reach advantage.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. He has no clue what he's talking about. Skip Bayless should just stick to whatever he does best, which I don't even know what he does best. I'll be honest. It's not combat sports though.
Oh, who was the one said that earlier that you guys were glad that Stephen A wasn't on the broadcast the other day? Was it you, Eric?
No, I'm the one that said that. I was so glad he wasn't on last night. That was
I kind of feel like Stephen A. Smith is almost better than Teddy Atlas. Like Teddy Atlas is too much. I don't know.
Did you see Teddy Atlas?
Andre Ward there. At least Teddy couldn't do a lot of what he did with Bradley there. I thought it was better.
Tapping him on the head and shit.
Did you see Teddy Atlas when they asked him a question?
Andre can put Teddy in his place. See?
Did you see Teddy Atlas last night when they asked him a question?
Curious. They
asked him a question and he started going off on one of his tirades. Then Andre Ward's kind of like looking at him like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? It's hilarious.
He was like, it's the same thing amateur and pro boxing. Yeah, Andre was like, it took me 13 fights to get reached to pro fighter, and then he shut up.
And Teddy Atlas has never had a pro fight in his career, and he's sitting there trying to tell Andre Ward how it is to be a professional. It's like, shut the fuck up, please.
Yeah, but he did bring Mike Tyson up. I'm just saying. I mean, he's training Mike Tyson, Mike Moore.
Kevin Rooney and Customato brought Mike Tyson up.
Teddy Atlas wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was holding the water. Stop.
That's still being there.
Okay.
The water boy.
and then he's training Michael Moore. Then he's training Michael Moore, and he's trying to make an ass of himself. I bet
Customato's the one that gave Teddy that scarf for talking too much shit. Because we never knew who did that. I bet it was Custamato.
Said he was jumped. He was jumped. I like Teddy, man.
I don't like Teddy.
Did you guys see Mikey Garcia's victory party? Ellie Seckbag was like at his huge ass compound. It was on there on his channel.
Ellie Seckbag's funny, man. If you ever see that guy like at an event, he never sits down. I mean, everybody makes fun of him because of the questions he asks and stuff like that. But I mean,
he's the
this
hardest
guy,
working dude.
He really is. I mean, he was here in Cincinnati for one of the Adrian Broner fights. He followed Broner to lunch. I mean, he got to get down and right on this table, zoom in on what they were eating and stuff like that, and was just talking about it. And I'm like, dude, who cares about this? And he gets like
he's even
tons of hits, man.
He's even a legal courtroom reporter for one of those stations in LA. So he does that in the morning, and then he does boxing the rest of the day.
Say what?
My God.
He's a courtroom reporter. Is he
a legal
really?
reporter at court? Yeah, he's like a court reporter for LA station.
Wow, I did not know that.
You guys know that?
No.
Yeah. That's how he got started. Like he used to do TV, then he went to NBA, and then he came back to boxing, and he still does that. That's like his main job.
He's a trip, man. He's a super nice guy. He's a super nice guy, man. And he really is.
He has that. He's from Israel, so he had to do that military training. He's got that Israeli military work ethic. You can tell. So those are fucking hardworking people over there.
Krav Maga. That's what he knows.
So Shaq. Have you guys seen his videos with Shaq? The Yo Mama jokes on his channel. Those are the fucking best.
No. He is, man, but he is. He's
Have
definitely
you?
the
Have you
hardest
seen
working
those?
guy, man. The hardest working guy, man, for sure. For sure.
Have you seen those?
What's that?
Your mama jokes with
No,
Shaq and Kobe?
no, I haven't.
With Ellie Segback?
No.
You haven't?
No, I haven't checked it out yet.
What? You need to go on his channel and just search Shaq. He's got like dozens of videos with Shaq. He's like boys with Shaq.
Sweet. We'll have to check those out.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else you guys wanted to mention? Yeah, I was gonna say the tickets haven't been sold out because I think Oscar successfully got the whole Mexican public to pretty much boycott the shit. Like literally every Mexican I see on video, they're like, "No, we're not watching this shit."
Yeah,
and
you know
I
what
think
this
if
is
the
like?
Mexicans hadn't like turned their backs on it, this shit would have been sold out because they're the one block they're not like embracing it fully.
I disagree. I mean, who can afford those ticket prices though? I mean, you're looking at $10,000 a ticket. I mean, thousands. I mean, you're looking at like, you know,
They have those
at least
$1,800.
$1,300.
They have a lot $1,800 tickets. Mexicans have a lot of cash. Like Mexicans love spending cash. So if people from Ireland can come over here for $1,800 tickets, Mexicans can too. You know, they got a lot of cash.
A lot of cash.
But they seem to think like Oscar is their fucking Peter Pan or something. I don't know why they believe him so much. Like what the fuck.
I don't know, man. I think that it's like we were talking about earlier. The fight's not really geared toward Mexicans. It's that's not even the market they're going after. And that's we were talking about the Independence Day and everything like that. That's not even the market they're going after.
Robbie, so if Canelo fights Conor or anybody else in MMA, you're definitely boycotting it already, right? There's no question about it.
Absolutely not.
He'll buy the Pauly fight, the
You're
Conor
boycotting
Pauly
it?
fight.
Robbie, you're boycotting it, even if Conor beats Floyd and he fights Canelo next, you're not buying it, right?
I'm not buying. No. No.
I ain't buying no Conor fight, son.
Yeah, you would.
Said
You
down
would
with
have
the
to buy it if he
UFC.
beat Floyd, right? Floyd, then he would be legend. If he beat Floyd, then what could we say about Conor? We couldn't say anything about him.
Hey, if he beats Floyd, that's great. But I'm not gonna. No.
Even Canelo, if he beats Floyd, then we can talk about it.
Robbie, I'm going to buy it for you. Don't worry.
Right.
All right. So if Beeb
about
bought the
those,
fight for you,
European, what about those European streams, VIP box? Are they going to be working or no? They're not going to be working.
I'm hearing they're shutting those down. I'm hearing that from a lot of different sources that they're shutting those down. That they're really cracking down on that for this fight.
Robbie, if I buy it for you, will you watch it?
Good question.
No.
Really?
He said no. He said
You'd
no.
rather watch Cotto fight? Are you serious?
Look, I don't like the Miguel Cotto fight either. You know,
That fight's terrible.
I don't like it
son.
either.
Is Kamagai a southpaw or is he an orthodox fighter?
I don't even know.
You know, to be honest
don't
with
even
you,
know.
I can't remember.
Couldn't even tell you.
Beeb, is he orthodox or
Terrible fight.
southpaw?
I think he's orthodox.
His level of boxing is pretty much like Conor McGregor, isn't he? I mean, he's going to be a punching bag just like Conor is. What's the difference?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a terrible fight.
But it's not on pay-per-view, I guess. Yes, regular HBO.
Yeah. That's the only good part about it. I was telling B before the show, I said, if this was a regular Saturday night and we didn't have this pay-per-view fight and this fight was on HBO, the Cotto fight's on HBO, I'm not even 100% sure I watch it on Saturday night. I mean, I'm sure I catch it at some point, but I'm not even it's not like I'm waiting with bated breath to go over there and watch it. You know?
It's like you had to cancel plans just to go.
Right.
go
I'm
something.
not canceling any plans to watch that fight, put it that way.
You're not going to set time aside specific.
Exactly.
I think they're expecting a Kirkland-type KO from, like, Canelo knocked out Kirkland. They're expecting Cotto to do that and do the rematch, probably. That's what they're expecting.
They can expect it all they want. That ain't happening.
All right, I'll let you guys go. Thanks, guys.
All right, man.
Long-ass show, huh? Thanks, guys.
Hey, that's all good, man. Thank you. Guy waited online for an hour. He talk, man.
Good guy, man.
That's the way it is, man. All right, so just real quick.
When you're that dedicated, you can speak your piece, man. That's what we do here. Go ahead, Eric.
100%. Just let everybody know, Mayweather-McGregor, we're going to run through these. Signed up to wear 8-ounce gloves this week. The change from the Athletic Commission. The Athletic Commission voted unanimous 5-0 and to change the gloves from 10-ounce to 8-ounce. A doctor came in and said this is not a good idea. Nevada State Athletic Commission said, we're not, it sounded like when they were talking about it, they weren't real crazy about the idea. All of them voted 5-0 for it. So just to show you how much money is involved and everything else that's involved. There you go. Both parties are happy. I don't know who really that favors. I don't really think it favors either one. People think it favors Conor. I don't really think it favors either one.
Funniest thing throughout that whole commission, because I watched it on YouTube, and the head commissioner goes, "Well, I'm going to approve this request, but I'm going to say one thing. I don't appreciate both camps using the Nevada State Athletic Commission as a promotional tool for this fight."
Yeah, okay.
I mean, come on, cut this shit.
Right. Airhead. Robert Byrd will be the referee for Mayweather-McGregor. It was announced by the Athletic Commission, of course, that Robert Byrd will be the referee. Byrd, the only time he refereed the Mayweather fight was Robert Guerrero, I believe. That was it. The 3 judges will be Burt Clements, Dave Moretti, and Guido Cavalieri. Both Clements and Moretti are from Nevada. Cavalieri is from Italy. So they got a good international feel for it, man. I mean, it's pretty interesting. And let's see here. That's pretty much it. Dan Raphael is reporting that Lomachenko. There was some chatter on this on the chat. Dan Raphael is reporting that Lomachenko versus Guillermo Rigondeaux is happening on December 9th. A lot of rumors going around about this fight, but nothing. And Dan Raphael tweeted it out that it looks like it's going to happen. But again, nothing official yet. So look for it this week or next. Nothing official yet, but if Dan Raphael's saying it, it's probably going to happen. He's usually pretty good, man. And then, of course, the other fight on Saturday night, Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto held an open workout this week and didn't exactly sell his fight. He said, every time I get ready for a fight, I just find it's just hard work. It was not our plan to have 24 months off, but the time just gave me an opportunity to spend time with my family. Blah, blah, blah. He said he'll be back December 21st. He did absolutely zero to sell this fight. So it's almost like they're just, I mean, he could have said, hey, this is the real fight on Saturday. This is this is that. Cotto said absolutely squat and did just completely no-sold this fight, which has got to make Oscar De La Hoya very happy. As we mentioned before, David Benavidez versus Ronald Gavril set for September 8th. And that's it. That's it for the news. I'll tell you what, my official pick, I'm taking Floyd Mayweather, knockout within 6 rounds. Beeb, what's your pick?
Floyd Mayweather, knockout, 6 round stoppage.
I just said that.
I have to agree with you.
You can't. What do you can't? No, you can't do that.
All right. Floyd Mayweather and 5.34 rounds.
Oh, no, you're gonna Price is Right me. Robert, what about you?
I think it's Floyd Mayweather, unanimous decision. I think Conor goes the distance.
Wow.
Come on, Robbie.
What's the over under that Robert watches this fight?
He's doing it. Over under he's watching this fight is 99%.
Oh, there it is.
He always breaks down. He buys.
He's doing it. He always breaks down.
Look, guys, we've done this show for a long time. Have I ever said that I'm not going to buy a fight and I wind up buying it?
Yes.
No, I always
times.
buy the pay-per-views. But in this case, I'm not.
Oh, you're terrible.
I refuse.
How dare you, sir? That'll do it. For this edition of Ringside Reporter, as always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810 and leave him a message. We've started a GoFundMe page for Robbie so he can watch the fight. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at www.beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week.
Have a good one, everybody.